Chapter 201. In a mountain range on the border of Handong Province, a team is moving fast. In the middle of the team, a thin, fair-skinned young man has a cold look in his eyes. This person is Lu Guanyu, the head of the Lu family who escaped. The secret line he arranged in the Kai family informed Kai Haonan that he had surrendered and the people in the Longxing base were killed by Ling Feng. He knew that Ling Feng was absolutely invincible. He immediately released all the zombie warriors and turned everyone in the base into zombies to hold Ling Feng back and create more time for his escape. Because he left in a hurry, he only brought a dozen psychics with him, and the food on him was only enough for 3 days. As an ordinary person, he couldn't stay outdoors for a long time. Now, he was almost frozen all over. If he couldn't find a place to stay, he might have to die here. He was able to persist in walking here, relying on his thoughts and the hatred in his heart. Ling Feng, Ares base. I will remember you. Sooner or later, I will seek revenge on you. He gritted his teeth and led the team to continue walking in an unknown direction. On the other side, Lu Neng brought Ling Feng to the Lu family's secret base and showed him the Lu family's material reserves. Even though Ling Feng had already prepared, he couldn't help but take a breath. It could be said that this secret base is much larger than the 4 warehouses of the Kai family combined. Although the base is also built underground, it can be said to be an underground city. The Lu family actually hollowed out a mountain. The entire base is divided into 3 floors. The first and second floors are all food reserves. Both the types of food and the amount of food exceed the reserves of the Kai family. The third floor is weapons and equipment, including 30 helicopters, various types of artillery, grenades, fully automatic rifles, etc. Ling Feng's eyes lit up immediately when he saw these helicopters. He was worried that the number of his helicopters was a bit small, but he didn't expect to get 30 more. Whatever he wanted, he got it. There are hundreds of artillery pieces and thousands of rifles in the warehouse. Although they're a bit useless for Ling Feng at this stage, Ling Feng still accepts them all. The management of the future base also needs to be equipped with some ordinary armed forces. These ordinary rifles are still useful. It took Ling Feng half an hour to collect all the supplies here into the space. Looking at the vast amount of supplies in the space, Ling Feng felt full of security. Ling Feng looked at Lu Neng with a smile, and his face, which was originally a little annoyed, is now much more pleasing to the eye. Ling Feng patted Lu Neng on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Master Lu, thank you for your generosity. I decided to let you go. You can go." Lu Neng looked at Ling Feng in disbelief. He didn't expect Ling Feng to really let him live. A layer of hope immediately rose in his heart. As long as he can live, he may not be unable to take revenge in the future. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Don't bully the poor in middle age. By the way, Master Kai, you're free today too. You can leave with Master Lu. Kai Haonan looked happy. He didn't expect that he would actually let him go. However, he turned his eyes and saw Lu Ning's fierce look, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. He immediately said excitedly, "Chief Ling, I am now a lonely man. I hope to join the God of War base. I hope the chief will help me." After saying this, Kai Haonan bowed and saluted Ling Feng respectfully. Ling Feng said lightly, "You two are both big names. I dare not let you work under me. You should leave quickly before I change my mind." Kai Haonan's expression changed, and he dared not say anything more. "Then I'll leave now." A path was immediately made in the crowd, and Lu Neng and Kai Haonan walked out carefully. After the two walked away, Wang Long couldn't help asking, "Are we really going to let them go?" Ling Feng sneered and glanced at Wang Long. One of these two is a Japanese lackey, and the other is cooperating with MK. Why keep them? Why don't you send a few people over and deal with them directly after they're far away? Since we are not going to keep them, why do we let them go? Isn't this redundant? Wang Long asked in confusion. Of course, let them fight each other first. And by the way, see if they have any hidden supplies. Wang Long showed a look of realization and couldn't help but give Ling Feng a thumbs up. Ling Feng began to walk around the entire Lu family's shelter. He had been busy collecting supplies just now and forgot that there were still a lot of genetic raw materials here. Ling Feng quickly came to the Liu family's laboratory, where he saw a lot of specimens that failed experiments were scattered around and threw it aside carelessly. Like the laboratory of MK Company, they used living people for experiments and created zombies, a strange species that is neither human nor ghost, and is extremely contagious. Once bitten, it basically becomes a walking corpse and cannot be cured. Ling Feng found a large amount of genetic raw materials in the cold storage room of the laboratory, and the quality is good, and the quantity can meet the quantity required for the next 2 upgrades. Ling Feng was very satisfied and put all the materials in the cold storage room into the space for replication. I don't have to worry about running out of raw materials in the future. Ling Feng hummed a little song and walked out of the laboratory with a brisk pace. After collecting the materials from the laboratory, the entire Liu family had nothing valuable except a shelter. Now it is an empty shell, and all the people inside have become zombies and have been burned to ashes. Ling Feng decided to go back to Jinling first and find a suitable place to be his future base. He can move here as soon as he can deal with the things in Shanjing. Ling Feng boarded the helicopter and glanced at it. He saw Lu Ning and Kai Haonan fighting in the open space. Both of them were injured, but Kai Haonan's injuries were obviously more serious. Ling Feng smiled slightly and stopped looking at them. Just let them fight. Anyway, they would all die in the end. Wang Long glanced at the 2 of them, then arranged 6 people to do the tracking work and also boarded the plane. The helicopter formation took off in a mighty manner and flew towards Jinling. On the ground, Kai Haonan looked embarrassed at this time, with more than a dozen wounds of various sizes on his body. Lu Nung on the opposite side looked at him with resentment, and the murderous intent in his eyes wished to cut him into pieces. Seeing that Ling Feng had already left with the troops, Kai Haonan said hurriedly, "Brother Lu, stop it. I did all this to save you." "Bah!" Lu Ning looked at him coldly and said, "You have destroyed all the wealth of my Liu family. I will kill you today no matter what." He immediately rushed towards Kai Haonan. "I can give you half of my supplies," Kai Haonan said quickly. Lu Ning paused. Chapter 202. "What did you say? Do you still have supplies?" Lu Ning looked at him suspiciously, obviously not believing his lies. Kai Haonan has always been a scheming guy. He has been dealing with him for many years and knows him very well. Kai Haonan secretly breathed a sigh of relief and hurried to Lu Nung to explain. "Brother Lu, you and I have been friends for many years. How could I harm you? If I didn't say that just now, Ling Feng might have used some means on you." Lu Nung looked at him half doubtfully, not giving him a good look, and frowned. "Let's talk about this later. Tell me about the supplies first." Kai Haonan laughed mysteriously, looked around, and made sure that no one nearby whispered. "To be honest with Brother Lu, I have another small shelter in Jinling, which is full of supplies I stored before for emergency use. Only I know this place. Now I will tell you this secret." Lu Ning's eyes flashed with a hint of intention, and his tone was somewhat relaxed. "Is everything you said true?" "Of course. Do you still not trust my character, Kai Haonan?" Kai Haonan patted his chest and said. Lu Ning sneered and said faintly, "I really don't trust it." Brother Lu is really a joker." Kai Haonan laughed awkwardly. Quickly changed the subject. "Brother Lu, let's move the supplies away quickly. Now the God of War base has just entered Jinling and has not yet established a firm foothold. We are not very familiar with the various forces in Jinling. Let's take away the supplies and then develop. As long as we have food, plus the 2 of us are superpowers, it is still easy to rebuild a force. Don't worry, the new force will definitely be based on you. How about I be your deputy?" Kai Haonan's clever words successfully made Lu Nung let down his guard against him and believe what he said. Lu Ning nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll trust you again. Let's go now. Time is running out." Kai Haonan was delighted, and then the 2 of them quickly walked towards Jinling. Relying on the speed of superpowers, the 2 of them did not rest along the way and rushed to the border of Jinling in just 1 hour. Kai Haonan took Lu Nung to sneak towards his hidden warehouse. It was already midnight. The 2 walked in the dark and looked around from time to time to prevent being followed. Finally, they arrived at their destination, Jinlong Mountain in Jinling. It used to be a famous tourist attraction. Before the end of the world, it was crowded with people every day. Lu Neng didn't expect that Kai Haonan would hide the supplies here, and he didn't know how he developed a warehouse here. Kai Haonan seemed to see Lu Neng's doubts and said very proudly, "There is a hotel I invested in here. The hotel is built on the mountain. When I built this hotel, I opened up the relationship with all parties. I built a private club here. The hotel is just a cover. I dug a large space in the mountain. We all got the news before the end of the world. I used this place as a backup shelter and stored a lot of supplies here." After listening to it, Lu Neng suddenly realized it and couldn't help but give him a thumbs up, and then couldn't wait to say, "Then let's go in quickly." Kai Haonan smiled brightly and said, "Okay, let's go. The passage of the hotel is no longer accessible. I have left a hidden passage. Follow me." Kai Haonan took the lead and led Lu Neng to the mountain. Kai Haonan took a look at the shape of the mountain, kept searching, and finally stopped in front of a stone statue. Due to the cover of snow, the stone lion that was originally 5 meters high now only has a head hidden outside. Kai Haonan searched for a long time before finding this stone statue. Kai Haonan pointed at the stone lion and said, "The entrance to the shelter is under the stone lion. We have to clear the snow next to it first." The two began to work hard to clear the snow. Half an hour later, they finally cleared all the snow in the 3-meter area around the stone statue. The stone statue finally revealed its full appearance. The two panted and smiled at each other, then worked together to push the stone statue, weighing thousands of pounds away, revealing the dark hole inside. Lu Neng looked at the hole and was a little excited. He didn't expect that there was really an entrance here. This time Kai Haonan really didn't lie to him, and he relaxed his vigilance against him. "Brother Lu, let's go in quickly." After Kai Haonan finished speaking, he took the lead and walked in, and Lu Neng followed closely. The two walked down the stairs in the dark. The only sounds in the environment were the footsteps of 2 people and the sound of rapid breathing. After walking for about half a minute, Lu Neng felt that he had reached the flat ground, and then he shouted, "Kai Haonan, haven't you arrived yet? Almost. Wait for me to find a light first." Kai Haonan's voice appeared about 2 or 3 meters in front of Lu Neng, and then he heard a rustling sound. Then a dazzling light suddenly lit up, and then more incandescent lamps lit up in a series. Lu Neng adapted to the light and soon found himself in a corridor with closed doors on both sides of the corridor. Kai Haonan stood not far from him with a smile on his face. "This is the corridor, and the supplies are stored in these rooms." Lu Neng walked to the door of one of the rooms and opened a door casually. Sure enough, he saw that it was full of food, and he couldn't help but look happy. "This is only part of it. There are more in the dance hall over there." Kai Haonan made a gesture of invitation. Lu Neng then walked in front of Kai Haonan, not noticing the hand hidden in Kai Haonan's clothes, nor his evil smile. Lu Neng walked to the dance hall, and indeed saw that the shelves in the dance hall were filled with all kinds of supplies, not only food but also cold-resistant clothes, purified water, etc., in very abundant quantities. He looked at these supplies with joy, and Lu Neng followed behind him, explaining to him from time to time, and the atmosphere was very harmonious for a time. "Oh, there is actually a snowmobile here." "Huh?" Lu Neng said with a surprised look as he bent down with his back to Kai Haonan and touched the brand new motorcycle. "Brother Kai, you are so thoughtful." "Ah!" Lu Neng suddenly felt a pain in his back. He looked down and saw that a shiny sharp knife had pierced his chest from the back at some point, revealing a blade. Lu Neng's expression changed, and he felt a little top-heavy. He turned around with difficulty and saw Kai Haonan's cold smile. "Don't worry. I have coated this knife with poison. You won't survive," Kai Haonan said coldly. Chapter 203. Lu Neng's face turned pale, and he felt that his life was slipping away quickly. He said with a look of annoyance, "I really regret believing you. You villain. I should have killed you just now." Lu Neng showed a sinister look and said coldly, "Humph, you are too easy to deceive. I don't have enough supplies here for myself. Do you think I will give them to someone who wants to kill me? Even if I don't kill you, you will kill me sooner or later. Lu Neng stared at Kai Haonan unwillingly as he slowly fell down. Kai Haonan walked to Lu Neng's body, kicked him twice, and laughed wantonly after confirming that he was dead. Haha, who can be my opponent in conspiracy and trickery? This will be the starting point of my revenge. Who are you looking for revenge? A cold voice suddenly sounded behind him. Who? Kai Haonan was so scared that he trembled all over and quickly turned around to look in the direction of the voice just now. He saw 6 men in uniform black combat uniforms standing not far away. He could tell their identities at a glance. People from the God of War base. The 6 people looked at him coldly, without any emotion. Kai Haonan's expression changed, and he felt his heart stop beating. He had seen the strength of these people before. Each of them was as strong as Long Kaiyu. He was definitely not an opponent, not to mention that there were 6 people on the opposite side. He had calculated everything, but he didn't expect that there were still a few tails following him. He was obviously very cautious, but he still couldn't escape their tracking. Kai Haonan's eyes turned, and he immediately began to tempt with benefits. Brothers, how about giving me a way out? I will give you the supplies here directly. No one knows about this except me. With these supplies, you will have enough to eat for a lifetime, and you don't have to risk your life to work for Ling Feng in the future. How about it? Several team members looked at him coldly and stood there unmoved. What do you want? As long as I can do it, I will definitely satisfy you. Kai Haonan said sincerely. We want your life, a team member said coldly. The 6 people then slowly approached Kai Haonan. Kai Haonan looked extremely ugly and regretted killing Lu Neng too early. Otherwise, he would have a better chance of escaping. Looking at the cold-looking people, a trace of determination flashed in his eyes. If you don't let me live, I'm not so easy to bully. Kai Haonan pulled out the short knife from Lu Neng and rushed towards several team members with a fierce look. His figure appeared and disappeared, making it difficult to see his figure. Several team members exchanged glances, and 2 team members instantly stood at the door to prevent him from escaping. The rest of them still stood where they were. They were all king-level superpowers, and it was easy for them to deal with a superpower. Kai Haonan's figure instantly came behind a team member of number 1 middle school and stabbed his back with the long knife in his hand. The team member did not dodge or evade. Kai Haonan thought that his sneak attack plan was successful, and he was happy in his heart, as if he saw a glimmer of hope. Just when he was about to stab the teammate, the person who had his back to him turned around at an incredible speed. Before he could react, the broken blade in his hand had been taken away by the other party. Kai Haonan felt a pain in his chest, as if he was pierced by something sharp. He hurriedly looked down, and his expression changed suddenly. The position of his heart in his chest was pierced by his own broken blade, and blood continued to seep out from the wound. Kai Haonan staggered towards the door. He just wanted to leave quickly now. He didn't want to die. He wanted to live. He still had many wishes that had not been fulfilled. He wanted to be the king of Jinling. He finally fell down only 1 step away from the door and slowly closed his eyes in unwillingness and regret. After completing the mission, several team members began to contact Wang Long and told him about the situation here. Wang Long told Ling Feng as soon as he got the news. Ling Feng was not surprised by this. Kai Haonan was a scheming person. He felt that this guy must have kept a trick from the beginning. Now, through this method, he finally squeezed out the last bit of oil and water from him, and he was no longer useful. Ling Feng absolutely has 0 tolerance for traitors. Letting him die quickly is the greatest tolerance for them. That Japanese Ito wanted to die, but couldn't. And now he is still enjoying the punishment of slow slicing every day. After returning to Jinling, Ling Feng began to study the site selection of the new base through the understanding of the large and small forces in Jinling. At present, there are 9 shelters of all sizes in Jinling. The largest one is the Kai family shelter, and the Kai family shelter is located in Jinling, the most central place in Jinling. It is very convenient to reach any place in Jinling from here. After the base is moved here, Ling Feng will integrate all the bases in Jinling and must make the whole Jinling an iron bucket. He has already had conflicts with Longping base, and they will definitely come to deal with him. He will never allow his backyard to catch fire and let Jinling and even the entire Handong surrender to Longping Base. From a military point of view, the Kai family shelter is definitely an excellent location. In addition, the area of the hidden warehouses of the Kai family before is not small, and it is about to catch up with the area of the God of War base. And these warehouses are very close to the Kai family shelter and can be quickly reached in a short time. Ling Feng studied for a long time and felt that the Kai family shelter was the most suitable new residence for the God of War base. In terms of safety, the shelter is built 50 meters underground, and all the walls are made of high-strength reinforced concrete, which is stronger than Ling Feng's God of War base. The shelter has a total of 3 exits, and the gates of each exit are all made of titanium alloy steel plates with high-strength concrete in the middle, so there is no problem with safety. In terms of scale, the Kai family shelter is very large, with a usable area of 100,000 square meters, and it is designed with 2 floors. The space is used very reasonably and can accommodate up to 30,000 to 50,000 people, which is completely sufficient for the current scale of the God of War base. The functional areas of the base are very reasonable, and there are supermarkets, gyms, restaurants, and clothing stores inside. It can be said to be a miniature city, which is very convenient. Ling Feng does not plan to let too many people live in the new base. Only those with special abilities, the God of War Brigade, scientific researchers, and daily maintenance personnel of the base will use it. Ling Feng plans to arrange those ordinary members in several other small shelters. After all, as the entire Handong province is gradually unified in the future, there will definitely be more and more armed personnel under his command, and the management personnel of the headquarters will also increase appropriately. This place is not suitable for Mandarin to live. Chapter 204. After Ling Feng finalized the site selection plan for the base, he called Wang Long and Ma Wu. He prepared a table of good food and good wine in the restaurant, which was also a reward for the 2 leaders of the God of War Brigade. Wang Long and Ma Wu came to the restaurant together in uniform. Wang Long saw the 2 bottles of aged Mauzi on the table, and his eyes lit up immediately. He couldn't wait to walk to the dining table, picked up a bottle of Mauzi on the table, and said with some surprise, "Oh, it's 20-year-old Mauzi. Good stuff. This thing can't be bought even if you have money. You have to thank Kai Haonan for this. This is all taken from his warehouse. He himself didn't even want to drink it," Ling Feng said with a smile. Wang Long laughed strangely and said teasingly, "If Kai Haonan knew that we drank his wine, he would be so angry that he couldn't hold it back." Ma Wu stood aside and smiled foolishly at Ling Feng and Wang Long, joking here. He was not good at speaking and could only express his feelings with a smile. Ling Feng invited the 2 to sit down and start eating. They tasted the taste of the 20-year-old wine. The 3 of them drank a lot without realizing it. Soon, the 2 bottles of wine were empty. "What a good wine!" Wang Long smacked his lips and said with a look of aftertaste. Ma Wu's face was slightly red with a hint of drunkenness, and he kept nodding. "It's really good. This is the first time I've drunk such good wine in my life." Ling Feng smiled slightly and took out 4 bottles of the same white wine from the space very generously. "I like to drink it. You 2 will take 2 bottles back later." Wang Long looked happy and quickly took 2 bottles and put them in front of him, fearing that Ling Feng would regret it. "You are all full and satisfied. Let's talk about business," Ling Feng said with a serious face. Ma Wu immediately put away his smile and looked at Ling Feng seriously. Wang Long still leaned on the chair, but his face also put away the relaxed look. "Now our first step is basically completed, and the next step is to relocate the base. I plan to move the God of War base to Jinling. Shangjing City is too small and is no longer suitable for our future development," Ling Feng said, lit a cigarette, and watched the reactions of the 2. Ma Wu lowered his eyes, not knowing what he was thinking, while Wang Long was excited. "Should we gradually unify the forces of the entire Jinling?" Wang Long looked at Ling Feng expectantly. Ling Feng nodded. "Yes, but Jinling is only the first step. My goal is the entire Handong province. Now Longping Base has been eyeing Handong, and we can't just sit back and watch. If we only care about Jinling, When his Longping base eats up all the cities around us and surrounds us, we will be even more passive. Wang Long looked angry and frowned. This Longping base is very arrogant. I really want to bring troops to directly flatten their nest. Ma Wu shook his head and said, as far as I know, the power behind the Longping base is very large. We should restrain ourselves for now. I heard from Zheng Sanbao that this Longping base is not so easy to deal with. Their high-in-combat power is said to be very powerful. Ling Feng cleared his throat and said lightly, let's talk about this later. The most urgent task is to do a good job of the aftermath of Jinling. I will go back to Shanjing City tomorrow. The two of you will stay in Jinling. You must do a good job of resettling the people of the Kai family, but this shelter must be emptied. This will be our base camp in the future. Those who are disobedient should be dealt with in time. After arranging the work, it was already very late. Ling Feng sent Wang Long and Ma Wu away and found a place to rest. Tomorrow he plans to go to the White Clothes divine religion and deal with the snow god of that divine religion. At this time, at the new headquarters of the White Clothes cult, Hu Tianxi and two king-level psychics from the Longping base were discussing things in the conference room. Hu Tianxi looked a little ugly. He just got a message from the two king-level psychics. Ling Feng led the army to destroy the two old families of Lu and Kai in one day, and Ling Feng refused the surrender of the Longping base and killed the two king-level psychics of the base. What's more terrible is that Ling Feng sent an air formation to bombard the headquarters of the Longping base directly, causing serious damage to the base, and finally left arrogantly without any injury. He watched Ling Feng's strength grow day by day, and his chance of revenge seemed to be getting smaller and smaller, and it was far away. Hu Tianxi looked at the two king-level psychics and said with a smile, two brothers, now that Ling Feng has destroyed the controllers of Jinling and Qingzhou, it will definitely affect the base's future rule over Handong. What is the attitude of the base? The tall superpower Lu Jinyang said nonchalantly, don't worry, Brother Hu. There are so many masters in the base. Does Ling Feng think he can be invincible after killing two king-level superpowers? There are emperor-level superpowers and even saint-level superpowers in the base. There is no need to be afraid of him. Saint-level. Hu Tianxi was shocked. It was already very difficult for him to break through to the king level, and the emperor level was even more distant. He didn't expect that there was a saint level in the base. It was too terrifying. A saint level can have 6,000 times the power of an ordinary person. He dared not even think about such strength. He, a king level, could barely reach about 1,500 times. Hu Tianxi felt relieved when he heard that there was a saint-level psychic in the base. No matter how powerful Ling Feng was, it was impossible for him to reach the saint level in such a short time. The resources and energy spent on cultivating a saint-level psychic were unimaginable. It was too difficult to reach the saint level without opportunity and talent. He felt that it was difficult to cultivate a saint level with the power of the God of War base. Hu Tianxi continued to ask, then Ling Feng is likely to attack our god cult after dealing with the Lu family and the Kai family. We should quickly formulate countermeasures. Lu Jinyang smiled confidently. Don't worry, Brother Hu. I have already reported the situation here to the base, and the base has sent experts over overnight. You can go to the Genesis Mountain with peace of mind. If you go too late, you will get nothing. Hu Tianxi nodded slightly and said, then I will set off tonight. I will trouble you two brothers with some matters of the divine religion. If I can get the exotic fruit, I will never forget you two. Lu Jinyang laughed, and a hint of appreciation flashed in his eyes. This time, the base can agree to let you go to the Genesis Mountain as a reward for you. At the same time, it also sees your potential. You must not live up to the base's attention to you. Hu Tianxi nodded heavily. He wants to become stronger than anyone else, and he also wants revenge. The power of hatred has been motivating him to move forward. Chapter 205. The next morning, in a luxurious bedroom in the Kai family shelter, Ling Feng stretched and slowly sat up from the bed. Kai Haonan's bed was so comfortable that he didn't want to get up. He wished he could sleep on it for another day and night. Ling Feng simply washed up and took out 10 steaming steamed crab buns, tomahawk steak, Australian lobster, and 3 bowls of rice noodle rolls from the space. I drank a little wine yesterday and didn't have much appetite today. I just ate some buns and drank some spicy soup. These were all prepared by Lin Su in advance. After they were out of the pot, he put them directly into the space so that he could eat Lin Su's cooking anywhere. Now he was not used to eating anything else except Lin Su's cooking. Lin Su had fed him a lot. After eating and drinking, Ling Feng simply explained a few words to Wang Long and set off alone in a helicopter. According to the information he had previously obtained, he flew directly to the location of the White Clothes cult. Ling Feng didn't know that the White Clothes divine religion had moved to a new location, and he was still heading towards the original address. The helicopter was very fast, and it took only about half an hour for Ling Feng to arrive near the White Clothes divine religion. Ling Feng began to lower the altitude of the plane and began to look for the specific location of the divine religion. Soon, Ling Feng saw a white gate on the back of a hillside. Ling Feng raised his eyebrows and flew the plane directly towards the gate. The door of the shelter was closed at this time. Ling Feng directly pressed the attack button of the helicopter, and 2 rockets were instantly launched from both sides of the helicopter. With a loud bang, the white door of the divine religion was instantly shattered. The guards inside the shelter were instantly in chaos. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The guard immediately notified the only superpower in the base. Because the headquarters was relocated, only one person was left here symbolically. At this time, the resident guardian Wu Sangu was sleeping soundly on the bed that originally belonged to the snow god. 2 young girls in cool clothes stood beside the bed, waiting for his orders at any time. Since being appointed as the resident guardian and stationed here, Wu Sangu has lived a life like an emperor every day. Apart from eating and doing some small exercises every day, there is basically nothing else to do. Today, he drank a little wine as usual, released his primitive power by the way, and took a nap on the bed. Don't live too comfortably. Just after falling asleep for a while, he was awakened by a rapid knock on the door. Wu Sangu jumped up from the bed in anger and kept cursing. "Fuck, you bunch of idiots. Don't you know that I'm sleeping at this time? Knock, knock, knock your mother's head." Wu Sangu walked to the door and opened it suddenly. His followers looked at him with pale faces, and their eyes were full of fear. "What do you want from me?" Wu Sangu asked with an unhappy look on his face. The follower didn't say anything, but a man came out from behind him and pushed him aside with his hand. Wu Sangu then noticed that there was another person, but this person looked a little unfamiliar, but he was quite handsome, which made him a little jealous, and he said unhappily, "Are you new here?" Ling Feng looked at him with a smile and slapped him away with a slap. Wu Sangu screamed, and the whole person hit the wall behind him. He vomited a large mouthful of blood, and I don't know how many bones in his body were broken. The 2 girls in the room screamed and immediately squatted on the ground and dared not look up. Wu Sangu looked at the man in front of him, and then he woke up, looked at Ling Feng with horror, and said tremblingly, Who are you? Do you know that this is the territory of the White Cult?" Ling Feng casually found a chair and sat down, looking at Wu Sangu on the ground with a calm expression, and said, "Where are the other people in your cult? Answer honestly, or I will skin you alive." Wu Sangu looked at the man in front of him, saying vicious words calmly, and was frightened and trembled all over. Judging from the speed of his attack just now, he was definitely not his opponent, but if he betrayed the cult and the leader knew about it, he would definitely be burned to death. Ling Feng looked at the guy's hesitation, immediately put away his smile, and said coldly, "You have 3 seconds to consider, and after 3 seconds, I will fulfill my promise. 3, 2, I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything." Wu Sangu quickly compromised, not daring to hesitate anymore. From Ling Feng's eyes, just now, he saw the killing intent and the desire to survive, which made him no longer consider what would happen next, and just wanted to live a little longer. "Speak," Ling Feng said indifferently. They all arrived at the ice shelter to avoid Ling Feng's revenge. Wu Sangu said with a frightened look. Ling Feng's expression moved slightly. He didn't expect that this snow god was so timid that he even moved his headquarters. He was quite courageous. What is the strength of your snow god now? Snow god? Wu Sangu was stunned, and then immediately said, the snow god is dead. Now the divine cult only has the leader, but not the snow god. Ling Feng was shocked. He didn't expect that in just a few days, the divine cult would have such a big change. How did he die? Ling Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Wu Sangu was a little scared by Ling Feng's eyes. He didn't dare to have any small thoughts. He immediately told him everything about the changes in the white divine cult. Ling Feng was stunned for a few seconds, and he kept recalling a name in his heart. Hu Tianxi. Ling Feng had some impression of Hu Tianxi. When the Hu family village invaded his villa, he almost massacred more than 100 people. A few of them escaped by luck, and one of them seemed to be Hu Tianxi. I didn't expect this guy to awaken his superpowers and become the leader. He also got together with Yang Zihan. Ling Feng couldn't help but burst out laughing. I really didn't expect it. After going around in circles, I finally found that they were all familiar people. It seems that these two people have been holding their breath and want to accumulate strength to seek revenge on me. Unfortunately, they can't catch up with my pace in this life. Ling Feng asked about the location of the ice base, and then dealt with Wu Sangu. He was too lazy to care about the other people in the base, so he let them fend for themselves. Ling Feng drove the helicopter towards the ice base. Although the snow god was dead, Hu Tianxi and Yang Zihan must die. Ling Feng is not a generous person. He will never allow any uncertain factors to exist. Even if the other party has only a 1 in 10,000 chance of killing him, he will personally deal with them. Especially Yang Zihan, who caused a lot of trouble to me before. This woman is a disaster. If I don't kill her, I don't know how many moths she will cause. Chapter 206. Half an hour later, Ling Feng arrived at the icefield shelter. A circle of ice blocks was built around the gate of the shelter, similar to a city gate. Soldiers were patrolling back and forth with guns. Ling Feng put away the helicopter in midair and jumped directly towards the city wall. With a crisp sound, he stood steadily on the city wall. The patrolling soldiers were startled by Ling Feng's sudden appearance on the city wall. Who is it? Surrender, and we won't kill you. More than a dozen soldiers with real guns and live ammunition immediately surrounded Ling Feng. Ling Feng directly opened the gravity field and walked leisurely towards the bottom of the city wall. All the soldiers were instantly crushed into a pool of minced meat by the gravity of up to 3,000 times. The city wall, made of ice and snow, was instantly stained with blood and then quickly froze in the extremely cold weather and became one with the city wall. Ling Feng walked down the wall and came to the door of the shelter. The door of the shelter was still open at this time. Since the soldiers on the wall died instantly, no one knew what happened. Ling Feng walked into the shelter directly and openly, and no one came out to stop him. Ling Feng wandered around the shelter directly. He found that everyone here was wearing a uniform white robe. Everyone was in a hurry, with a blank look in their eyes, without the slightest spirit. These people all walked in the same direction. Ling Feng, the alien in black clothes, was only looked at a few more times by everyone, and no longer paid attention to him. They thought Ling Feng might be a new convert who had not had time to change clothes. Ling Feng followed the crowd and walked inside. Soon, they came to a large iron gate. There stood more than a dozen tall, masked men at the gate. Each of them held a long knife in his hand. From the aura emitted by these people, they should be the superpowers of the white-clothes divine religion. Ling Feng followed the team and found that everyone had to take out something similar to a work permit when passing through the gate. After a careful inspection, the superpowers would confirm that the information of the person and the certificate matched before letting the person in. Soon, it was Ling Feng's turn. He walked in front of the group of superpowers with a calm look. After seeing Ling Feng's clothes, the superpowers frowned. Why don't you wear the uniform of the divine religion? When did you join the divine religion? Ling Feng smiled slightly. I'm not from your divine religion. I'm Ling Feng from the God of War base. I don't know if you have heard of me. The superpower who just asked the question was obviously stunned for a few seconds, and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Then he suddenly reacted and started shouting, "Ling Feng! He is Ling Feng! Catch him!" More than a dozen superpowers instantly drew out their long swords and slashed towards Ling Feng, and the ordinary believers who were queuing immediately fled in fear. Ling Feng directly used his mental power to attack. There was an explosion on the field, and except for the superpower team leader, the rest of the people were all blown into a blood mist. The superpower was frightened by this scene and collapsed to the ground. His body was stained with the blood of his companions. "Take me to find your leader." Ling Feng's cold voice came. The superpower team leader immediately stood up tremblingly and walked towards the inside of the shelter tremblingly, not daring to resist at all. Ling Feng followed the team leader all the way to the inside of the shelter, and anyone who dared to resist was killed by Ling Feng. In the restaurant of the Divine Religion, 4 high-ranking members of the Divine Religion were sitting together eating hot pot. There were several bottles of guojiao on the table. Each of them was accompanied by a beautiful woman. Everyone was eating hot pot and drinking wine, bragging and hugging girls, having a great time. They didn't realize that the enemy had come to their door. All of them were from Longping Base. 2 of them were the 2 king-level superpowers who helped Hu Tianxi's power, and the other 2 were just here today to help the Divine Religion deal with the strong men from the God of War base. The strength of the 2 new members was all the junior level of the Emperor level, and they were also strong men in Longping Base. Today's banquet was specially set up to welcome the 2 Emperor-level strongmen. One of the Emperor-level superpowers, Lu Hai, had a slightly red cheek and a dazed look in his eyes. He was obviously drunk. He stood up with a glass of wine and said with a big mouth, "I won't talk too much about your hospitality today. It's all in the wine." He finished drinking the wine in the glass. "Brother Hai has a big capacity. Otherwise, I would have thought you could break through to the Emperor level." Lu Jinyang gave a thumbs up to flatter the Emperor-level supernaturalist. "Brothers, let's save some food. There will be a second game later. I prepared a little show for you to cheer you up," Lu Jinyang said with a lewd look on his face. The 2 Emperor-level psychics understood instantly and showed a meaningful smile. Another Emperor-level psychic Duan sure pointed at Lu Jinyang and said with a smile, "This is our good brother." "Huh?" Lu Jinyang rubbed his hands a little embarrassedly. "Brothers, didn't I ask you to ask my brother, Lu Xiaohu, about his promotion to deputy captain last time?" "You see." Lu Hai pretended to be puzzled and said, "What deputy captain, Captain?" Lu Jinyang raised his glass with a look of surprise and said with a smile on his face, "Oh, Brother Hai, what can I say? I drank it. I drank it." Then he drank a full glass of wine. Just when the few people were drunk, an inopportune sound suddenly rang out. A man dressed as a guard quickly pushed the door open and walked in, saying in a hurried tone, "Commanders, something bad has happened." "That's Jean." Before the man finished speaking, he was interrupted by Lu Hai, who said with a somewhat unhappy look, "Xiao Lu, your subordinate is quite impatient. The young man is still too impetuous. You have to educate him well." Lu Jinyang's expression froze after hearing Lu Hai's words, and he quickly smiled and said, "Brother Hai is right. It's because I am too lax in managing them. After I go down, I will definitely educate them well." Lu Jinyang turned his eyes to his subordinates. His face changed immediately, and he reprimanded with a serious face. "How many times have I told you that when I am talking to the leader, you must knock on the door when you come in? I forgot, right? There is shit in my brain, Also, no matter how big a problem you encounter in the future, pay attention to your image and tell me slowly if you have anything to say." The subordinate who was scolded cursed the leaders in his heart. "What a bunch of idiots. People are about to rush to the restaurant, but you are still showing off, eating and drinking. Can't you do something serious?" Lu Jinyang scolded for a long time and felt that Lu Hai should be relieved, so he asked, "Tell me, what is the matter?" Chapter 207. The subordinate said in a very calm tone, "Report to the commander. It's like this. Ling Feng from the God of War base broke in and immediately killed the base." "What?" Lu Jinyang exclaimed, with a look of shock on his face. "Ling Feng is here?" Lu Hai also put down the wine glass in his hand, and his eyes immediately became more sober. "Where is that Ling Feng now?" Another Emperor-level superpower, Duan sure asked. I'm here. Ling Feng put his hands in his pockets and staggered in. Everyone in the room immediately looked at the young man who suddenly appeared with a vigilant look on their faces, and their bodies were ready to attack at any time. Ling Feng glanced at the people in the room and the food on the table, and couldn't help but tease. Oh, you are all in such a good mood, eating hot pot and drinking guijiao, and there are beautiful women to match. It's really enviable. He walked to an empty chair and sat down, picked up a box of huazi on the table, skillfully took out a cigarette and threw it into his mouth, picked up the lighter on the table to light his cigarette, exhaled a cloud of smoke, and then put the remaining cigarettes and lighter into his pocket. The whole action was coherent and natural. A trace of coldness flashed across Lu Jinyang's eyes, and he said in a cold tone, "Are you Ling Feng from the God of War base?" "Yes, it's genuine." Ling Feng poured himself a glass of wine, tasted it carefully, and couldn't help but nodded and praised. "Well, good wine, soft on the mouth, a line of throat." Lu Hai looked at Ling Feng with a sneer, and a trace of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. "Young man, you are quite courageous. We haven't come to you yet, but you have come to us on your own initiative. Do you know who we are?" Ling Feng immediately became interested. Seeing these people's confident appearance, he wondered if they were the powerful figures again. "What are your identities?" he asked curiously. "I'll scare you if I tell you," Lu Hai said proudly. "I am Lu Hai, an Emperor-level superpower from Longping Base. Next to me is my colleague Duan Shi, who is also an Emperor-level superpower." Lu Hai pointed to Duan Shi next to him. "Longping Base." Ling Feng's expression changed. He really didn't expect this. This Longping Base is really good. It is actually linked with the white closed divine religion. It must not be kept. Lu Hai looked at Ling Feng's silence and thought that Ling Feng was scared. Then he restored the demeanor of a superior and said majestically, "Ling Feng, you killed many psychics in my Longping base and blew up the infrastructure of my base, causing heavy losses. Do you know your crime?" Ling Feng glanced at him, sneered, and slapped Lu Hai in the air. Lu Hai was instantly slapped into a ball of blood mist. Except for Ling Feng, all the people present were covered in blood. Ling Feng gently waved at the round crystal on the ground, and the crystal the size of Longyan slowly floated to his hand. Ling Feng carefully observed the crystal of the Emperor-level psychic. Unlike the King-level psychic, this crystal was red and felt very warm to the touch. He could feel the surging energy inside just by holding it in his hand, which was very different from the King level. The other psychics from Longping Base in the room were pale at this moment, and no longer had the arrogant attitude just now. They stood there obediently, not daring to make any rash moves. Ling Feng's methods directly stunned them. An Emperor-level superpower was killed instantly. What a concept! The opponent is likely to be a peak Emperor-level powerhouse, or even a Saint-level superpower. He could never imagine how a small Ares base could have such terrifying strength. What kind of opportunity did Ling Feng get to reach this point in such a short time? Ling Feng studied the crystal for a long time and finally put it into the space. Finally, he looked at the remaining few people and said lightly, "What else do you guys have to say?" Duan Shi forced a smile and said tremblingly, Ling leader, is there any misunderstanding?" "There must be some misunderstanding between our Longping base and the Ares base. We just need to resolve the misunderstanding." Ling Feng looked at him with a playful look on his face. "Misunderstanding? No misunderstanding. I killed the people in your base and blew up your base. I came here today to destroy the White Clothes cult." Duan Shi looked shocked and angry, but when he thought of Ling Feng's strength, his scalp immediately numbed, and he didn't dare to make a move. "Where did Hu Tianxi go?" Ling Feng asked casually. Lu Jinyang immediately replied. Hu Tianxi took his wife to the Creation Mountain. There are exotic fruits ripening there recently. Where did they go to find exotic fruits? A gleam of light flashed in Ling Feng's eyes. Creation Mountain. The exotic fruit is ripe. I didn't expect to get such an important news when I came to the White Clothes Divine Religion this time. It seems that I have to go to the Creation Mountain. How long have they been gone? They just left last night. I guess they haven't reached the place yet. Lu Jinyang answered honestly. After Ling Feng asked for useful information, he directly used the gravity field. The three psychics in the room were instantly crushed into a pile of minced meat. Ling Feng took out their crystals and walked out of the room. Outside the room, several service staff squatted on the ground and looked at Ling Feng in fear. Ling Feng ignored them and began to search slowly in the divine religion. Ling Feng soon came to the warehouse here. After smashing the door with a punch, Ling Feng entered the warehouse and saw the food stored in it. It was a bit regrettable that the inventory of supplies here was much less than that of the Liu family and the Kai family, not even half of theirs, but no matter how small a fly is, it is still meat. Ling Feng took all the supplies away directly. Even if he doesn't use it himself, he can't give it to his enemies. After collecting all the supplies from the entire cult, Ling Feng did not kill anyone else. Most of the people here are ordinary people, and they can't pose a threat to him. Moreover, if he takes away the food here, they will soon lose their composure and start fighting among themselves. After leaving the shelter, Ling Feng took out the plane directly from the space and flew towards Shangjing City. He planned to explain the work after returning, and then took Zheng Sanbao to the Creation Mountain. Since there are many exotic fruits that have matured, he must go to join in the fun. Maybe there will be some adventures. In addition, Hu Tianxi and Yang Zihan have already gone there. He must kill them. Otherwise, if they find the exotic fruits and their strength increases greatly, they will definitely cause him a lot of trouble in the future. So he must go to the Creation Mountain no matter what. There are also people from the Longping base who will definitely go this time. Even if he can't get the exotic fruits, he can't let them get them. By the way, take this opportunity to test how strong they are. Chapter 208. After Ling Feng returned to the base, he immediately found Du Yibai and Lin Su. Now that Wang Long and Ma Wu have stayed in Jinling, the base can only use these two masters. The two beauties sitting together look very pleasing to the eye, each with its own merits. Lin Su wore a simple and elegant casual outfit with a high-neck sweater inside, looking very intellectual and sexy. Du Yibai looked heroic in the combat uniform of the God of War Brigade. The tight clothes made her perfect figure undoubtedly revealed, capable and beautiful. After the two arrived, Ling Feng went straight to the point. I have something to do recently and need to go on a long trip. Wang Long and Ma Wu are both in Jinling. The base will rely on you two to preside over the work. Lin Su didn't ask more questions after listening to Ling Feng's words. After being with Ling Feng for so long, he knows Ling Feng better than anyone else. He won't do anything he is not sure of. Don't worry, I will cooperate well with Yibai at the base. Lin Su said softly. Ling Feng nodded, and he looked at Du Yibai and said, if you can't make a decision when you encounter a problem, you should listen to Lin Su's opinion. If you two can't make up your mind, you can call me on the satellite phone. Ling Feng felt that Lin Su was a very smart woman, and he knew this very well before the end of the world. Although Du Yibai was a little dissatisfied, after all, Ling Feng was her boss. She didn't dare to refute and could only nod. What are your strengths now? Ling Feng suddenly asked. I am now at the peak of the Emperor level, and it won't be long before I can break through the Saint level, Du Yibai said with some pride. These days, she has been training hard. As long as she has free time, she will train herself and constantly develop her special abilities. With the help of Ling Feng's nutrient solution, she has made rapid progress. Even Zheng Sanbao, who is at the peak of the Emperor level, is no match for her after fighting with him several times. She is now very confident in her own strength. In the entire base except Ling Feng, he thinks that no one should be his opponent. After hearing about Du Yibai's strength, Ling Feng kept nodding, his eyes full of admiration, which made Du Yibai very happy. Ling Feng turned his gaze to Lin Su, with a hint of doting in his eyes. Lin Su smiled and said very calmly, my strength has reached 6,500 points now. I don't know what level it is. It should be a little stronger than the Emperor level. Ling Feng nodded. Yes, 6,500 points has reached the level of a Saint-level superpower, but it has just reached it. Ling Feng was not surprised at Lin Su's strength. Lin Su was a very strong person. Although he had no presence in the base, No one could match her in terms of strength and strategy. After hearing about Lin Su's strength, Du Yibai slowly let go of the arc at the corner of her mouth. She never thought that Lin Su's strength had surpassed her. Lin Su usually looked weak and inconspicuous, but her strength had improved so fast. I must not have worked hard enough. I must double my training and surpass him soon. Du Yibai secretly encouraged himself. Ling Feng divided the work between them. Lin Su was responsible for the military and security work of the base, while Du Yibai was responsible for the daily management of the base. The two had no objection to this arrangement. After arranging the work at hand, Ling Feng called Zheng Sanbao. Zheng Sanbao's face was slightly red at this time, and he was full of alcohol. He walked into Ling Feng's office with lazy steps. Ling Feng saw Zheng Sanbao, who was half drunk, and said unhappily, "Old Zheng, do you have anything else to do every day besides drinking? How can you defend yourself like this?" Zheng Sanbao smiled and waved his hand. "Don't worry, leader. I will definitely not delay anything. I have this. Just one pill will sober you up immediately." Zheng Sanbao took out a hangover pill and threw it into his mouth. Sure enough, within a minute, his eyes became much clearer. "Old Zheng, I'm going to take you back to the Creation Mountain. Just follow me later," Ling Feng said casually. Zheng Sanbao was stunned when he heard this, and the alcohol disappeared instantly. He said with a complicated look, "Chief, do you really want to wade into the muddy water of the Creation Mountain? I heard that many forces have recently set their sights on the Creation Mountain." Ling Feng's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and he said lightly, "I must go to the Creation Mountain. I have reasons to go." Zheng Sanbao sighed deeply, and a trace of determination flashed across his face. "Since the chief has decided to go, then I, Zheng Sanbao, will sacrifice my life to accompany you and take a trip." Ling Feng smiled, and said with a normal look, "Don't worry, Lao Zheng, I will make sure you are safe in this operation." Ling Feng is still very confident in his own strength. With his current combat power of more than 10,000, there are not many people who can beat him, and there are still many inner pills in his space. If his strength is not enough, he can take the inner pills at any time to quickly improve his strength. Even if he can't beat him, with the speed of the Black Panther, he can safely take him away, which can be said to be foolproof. The two of them didn't have any luggage to pack. Ling Feng's space had everything, and they could set off at any time. The Black Panther had been waiting at the door for a long time and couldn't wait to go out and have fun. Zheng Sanbao looked at the huge Black Panther, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. "Leader, what is the strength of Wu Huan now? Why do I feel a sense of oppression in front of him?" Ling Feng smiled slightly, touched the Black Panther's hair, and said with relief, "The Black Panther should have the strength of a saint now. When I think of the time when I picked up the Black Panther at the entrance of the supermarket, he was only the size of a palm, dirty and thin, and followed me around every day. Now he has grown into a powerful divine dog. I can't help but sigh, and at the same time I am extremely proud." After hearing about the strength of the Black Panther, Zheng Sanbao's eyes moved slightly, and his heart was really hard to calm down. He didn't expect that this dog, who usually lay at the door of the villa and liked to go out for a walk when he had nothing to do, would be so strong. No wonder I always feel uncomfortable in front of him. It turns out that he has the strength of a saint. This leader is really powerful. The guard dog at home has the strength of a saint. It's really surprising. Ling Feng jumped on the back of the Black Panther. Zheng Sanbao stood in place and looked at the size of the Black Panther. He hesitated and didn't dare to go up. After all, this kind of beast will only submit to people who are stronger than themselves. If I sit on him, this guy might bite me and then I'm done. My strength is not enough for him to fill his teeth. Seeing that Zheng Sanbao didn't dare to come up, Ling Feng urged him. "What are you waiting for? Come up quickly." Woof, woof, woof. The Black Panther also turned around and roared at Zheng Sanbao. "Hurry up, the Black Panther is waiting impatiently, urging you." Zheng Sanbao then jumped onto the Black Panther's back carefully. Chapter 209. Black Panther, let's go. Ling Feng shouted happily. Black Panther responded and rushed out instantly. Chuansha Mountain is located in the southernmost part of Jiangnan Province, and Shanjing City is in the northernmost part of Handong Province. The distance between the two places is still a bit far. However, with the speed of Black Panther, it can basically be reached in about 2 hours. At the same time, in the headquarters of Longping Base, Su Hu carefully handed Ling Feng a report on Ling Feng's investigation. Long Shuai, this is the information I collected about Ling Feng. Ling Feng once served in the Special Forces and was the king of soldiers in the army. He had performed many important tasks. According to the current investigation, his ability may be that of a superpower, and his strength should be around the peak of the Emperor level. He has an army of 600 people, all of whom are official special forces, and their strength should be at the level of superpowers. Long Outyen frowned as he looked at the report in his hand. Why did Ling Feng's strength improve so quickly? He can't improve so quickly without strong resources. Well, this has not been investigated yet. This person is too mysterious. This information is still under investigation, Su Hu said nervously. He had seen the anger in Long Outyen's eyes and couldn't help shrinking his neck. Didn't Ling Feng kill several of our psychics? Long Outyen said with a gloomy face as he looked at Su Hu. Su Hu's back felt cold when he was looked at by Long Outyen. His face turned pale instantly, and he said with a trembling voice, "We have lost a total of 4 king-level psychics and 2 emperor-level psychics." Long Outyen was furious after hearing this number and immediately roared at Su Hu. "How did you do it as a commander? Do you know how much it costs to train 2 emperors in the base? Don't you know that you need to do a background check first? You useless person. In the last air raid, they were right at the doorstep and blew up the base, but you didn't even leave a hair of them." Su Hu lowered his head and dared not speak, for fear of saying something wrong and making him unhappy again. Long Outyen tightly grasped the report in his hand. His eyes were sharp, his expression was cold, and his whole body was filled with strong, murderous intent. "This Ling Feng must die. You immediately send troops to completely eradicate this god of war base for me. If I didn't have to go to the Genesis Mountain, I would definitely lead the troops there myself. Chop this Ling Feng into pieces." Su Hu breathed a sigh of relief in his heart and escaped another disaster and said quickly, "Yes, Long Shuai, I'll arrange it now." After speaking, he turned around and left the room quickly. Just after taking 2 steps, Long Outyen's low voice came from behind him. "This is my last chance for you. Wait until I come back from Genesis Mountain. If you haven't finished it yet, you don't have to come back to see me." Su Hu's heart trembled. His expression changed slightly, and a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes. On the other side, Ling Feng lay on the back of the Black Panther, crossed his legs, and smoked leisurely. After half an hour of adaptation, Zheng Sanbao also lay on the soft fur of the Black Panther and drank a little wine. From time to time, he took out a peanut from his pocket and threw it into his mouth with a look of enjoyment on his face. Because the Black Panther was too fast, the two could not communicate with each other in language and could only lie down and rest. Half an hour later, the two finally reached the area near Genesis Mountain. In order not to be too conspicuous, Ling Feng chose to walk and let the Black Panther shrink to the size of an ordinary black dog. The two walked towards the Creation Mountain, stopping and starting, and soon arrived at the outer area of the Creation Mountain. The foot of the mountain was particularly lively, and many people of all kinds were walking at the foot of the mountain. At a glance, there were at least 300 or 400 people. Ling Feng looked at the crowd in the distance with surprise. He didn't expect it to be so lively here. "Old Zheng, are there so many people living in seclusion in the Creation Mountain?" Ling Feng looked at Zheng Sanhe on the side and asked. Zheng Sanhe frowned and shook his head and said, "There are many new faces here. They should be people from outside. They all want to come to the Creation Mountain to find exotic fruits. I didn't expect that so many people would gather here in just 1 month." Ling Feng didn't care and said as usual, "It's lively when there are many people. Let's go and take a look." Ling Feng took the lead and walked towards the foot of the mountain. Seeing that a lot of people gathered in one place, he hurried into the crowd. There was an iron gate in front of the crowd, which was tightly closed. On both sides of the iron gate were two powerful supernatural beings guarding them. The two looked at these people with arrogance. Ling Feng squeezed into the crowd with Black Panther, grabbed a young man by the shoulder, and asked with a smile, "Handsome guy, what are you doing?" The man was originally impatient, but after hearing Ling Feng's address, his expression immediately eased a lot. He looked at Ling Feng and asked seriously, "What did you call me?" Ling Feng looked at this guy speechlessly. His toad nose, green bean eyes, and acne all over his face were totally incompatible with the word handsome, but in order to get clues, he could only say it against his will. "Handsome guy," the young man immediately said with a beaming face. "Brother, you have good taste. I have lived for so many years, and finally someone has discovered my beauty. My name is Ling Tian from Shangjing City. What's your name, brother?" Ling Feng was stunned and looked at this guy in astonishment. He was also surnamed Ling, and he was from the same hometown as him. "Ling Feng," Ling Feng said indifferently. "Oh," Ling Tian exclaimed, and then said, "I was wondering why we are so destined to be together. It turns out we are from the same family. The more I look at you, the more I feel that we look a bit alike. But your name sounds a bit familiar." Ling Feng felt sicker than eating a dead mouse. He regretted asking this guy questions and quickly changed the subject. "What are they doing?" Ling Tian immediately gave Ling Feng a detailed explanation. "These two people are from the Creation Alliance." "Creation Alliance?" Ling Feng looked at Ling Tian with a puzzled look. The Creation Alliance is an organization established by the local forces of the Creation Mountain. The Creation Alliance is jointly managed by the 7 Great Masters. It is said that these 7 people are very powerful, and all of them are saint-level cultivators. Ling Tian whispered in Ling Feng's ear. "What do they mean by stopping here?" "Hey, brother, you don't know, this gate is the only way to the inside of the Creation Mountain, and the rest of the places are all steep mountain roads. The Creation Alliance has set a rule that only those with big power can enter, and people with small power like me can't enter at all." Ling Tian sighed helplessly and said with some regret. Ling Feng touched his chin. He didn't expect that there was such a rule for entering the mountain. Chapter 210. What are the big forces coming here this time? Ling Feng continued to ask. Ling Tian glanced at Ling Feng and said with a surprised tone, "Brother Ling, how come you don't know anything? Since you want to come here to find exotic fruits, you have to investigate it." Ling Feng chuckled. "Didn't I ask you this? After all, we are also relatives. Can you still lie to me?" Ling Tian sneered and patted his chest and said, "I, Ling Tian, have been in the underworld for so many years, and I value loyalty. You are cheating me when you meet me. As far as I know, there are many powerful forces coming to the Creation Mountain this time. I know that there are the Shadow Building and Baishui sect in Daxing Mountain, the 5 Immortals Alliance in the northeast, the Miao clan in southern Xinjiang, the Dua family in Tibet, the Ma family in Shaanxi, etc. They are all first-class superpowers." Ling Feng nodded frequently. After listening to Ling Tian's description, he had a basic understanding of the major forces in the Creation Mountain this time. What he didn't expect was that those forces that were very far away from here also came. How did they know about what happened here? There must be some conspiracy here. There must be someone fanning the flames. While Ling Feng was thinking, Ling Feng whispered beside him, "Brother Ling, I think you are from a small force. Don't even think about going in, just learn some knowledge. Without the permission of the Creation Alliance, you can't go in at all." As they were talking, a team of 6 people squeezed into the crowd very arrogantly, which immediately caused dissatisfaction among many people. All 6 of them were wearing ethnic minority clothes. A tall and dark-skinned young man was surrounded by the other 5 people in the middle. Judging from their positions, he should be the core figure of this team. "Damn, why are you squeezing? Don't you see someone in front?" A middle-aged man with a somewhat irritable temper shouted at the group of people. The young man frowned and raised his eyebrows to the subordinate next to him with a cold look. "Teach him a lesson." A subordinate instantly punched the middle-aged man who had just cursed, and the punch was sharp and decisive. The middle-aged man's face changed slightly, and he hurriedly tried to resist. The 2 fists collided in the air, and the middle-aged man was directly punched out. The middle-aged man screamed, and his right arm showed a weird posture. His arm was directly broken by the punch just now. I am from Wuzhou's shelter. Who are you? You are so domineering. The middle-aged man roared with a distorted face. The young man surrounded in the middle looked at him with disdain and said coldly, Wuzhou base? I haven't heard of it. I'll go to see it after the trip to Genesis Mountain. My name is Dua Jiatsua. Welcome to seek revenge on me. Then he led his men to the entrance of Genesis Mountain. The middle-aged man in Wuzhou base changed his expression drastically. He didn't expect that this group of people were from the Dua family. How could the people from his small base be his opponents? He could only get up and leave with hatred. Dua walked to the entrance with 5 men, and the 2 Creation Alliance superpowers who were responsible for guarding the gate immediately put on a smile. Master Dua, you are here, please come in. The guard opened the door and made a gesture of invitation. Don't you need to check your identities? Dua Gyatso said lightly. The guard said with a flattering face. Master Dua, you don't need to check. The Alliance has already said hello. You can go in directly. Dua Gyatso nodded to the guard and walked into the gate with several subordinates. After sending Dua away, the 2 guards regained their cold expressions and looked at the remaining people with disdain. The onlookers stood at the door and couldn't get in, but they were still unwilling to leave, fantasizing that a miracle would happen, or that the people of the Creation Alliance would be kind enough to let them in. But it was obvious that no miracle would happen, and the people of the Creation Alliance would not be kind enough. Ling Feng saw a pair of siblings in the crowd, with ragged clothes. Both of them were thin, and they were out of tune with the bright and beautiful people around them. An hour passed quickly, and several groups of people came in one after another, all of whom were from large families. Zheng Sanbao stood behind Ling Feng and said solemnly, Chief, the strength of the Creation Alliance should not be underestimated. Let's not have a direct confrontation with them. Ling Feng waved his hand and said expressionlessly, Old Zheng, don't be scared. Just do it. I'm here to find a place for you today. After that, he walked directly towards the door. As soon as he took a step, he was grabbed by Ling Tian's arm. Brother Ling, don't be impulsive. We can't afford to offend that kind of big shot. Don't go up and die. Ling Tian said seriously. Ling Feng smiled slightly. He didn't expect that Ling Tian was so enthusiastic. He smiled and struggled opening Ling Tian's hand. He walked out of the crowd with firm steps. Zheng Sanbao sighed and followed him. Ling Feng walked in front of the guards, and one of the guards directly reached out to stop Ling Feng. He asked in a cold tone, Which force are you from? War God Base, Ling Feng. Ling Feng said neither servile nor arrogant. Ling Tian in the crowd changed his expression, and a flash of surprise flashed in his eyes. I was wondering why this name felt so familiar. It turned out to be him. Ling Tian secretly admired in his heart. He was also from Shanjing City, but before the end of the world, he had been working in Jiangnan Province, and he had not returned after the end of the world. Just a while ago, he went back to Shanjing City and learned about some things about Ling Feng. He admired him very much. Especially Ling Feng relied on one person to slowly develop power and gradually unify the entire Shanjing City. This is simply a role model for men. He had always wanted to join the War God Base and fight for a better future for himself. He didn't expect to see the original body open today. Ling Tian looked at Ling Feng with excitement. He now believed that Ling Feng was not impulsive and must have absolute strength. The guard looked Ling Feng up and down, sneered, and said disdainfully, I haven't heard of it. You can't go down. Another guard also said with a sneer on his face, Now anyone dares to come up. A small base that has never been heard of also wants to get exotic fruits. It's really a toad wanting to eat swan meat. The people watching below also began to add insult to injury. After all, they couldn't get in. Now someone couldn't get in like them and was insulted. They would only be happy and would not feel sorry. Just like the crabs in the bathtub, no crab can ever climb out of the fish tank. When you are about to climb out, there will always be crabs to pull you back into the abyss. I thought he was some big shot, but it turns out he is just pretending. A bald man said with a sneer on his face. Just come down quickly. Don't embarrass yourself there. It's useless to be good-looking. You're not a prostitute. You want to go in without the ability. You're still too young. Ling Feng's expression moved slightly, with a smile on his face, and he glanced at the people who had just spoken rudely to him. Chapter 211. Zheng Sanbao quickly walked to Ling Feng's side and said to the two guards angrily, "Don't look down on others with your dog eyes." The two guards looked at Zheng Sanbao and immediately showed a look of surprise. One of the guards said with a mocking tone, "Ah, who did I think it was? It turned out to be you, Zheng Sanbao. You dare to come back. You are really brave. This is your new master. You are a good dog for talking to him like this." Another guard also threatened, "Zheng Sanbao, our creation alliance has been looking for you. You dare to fall into the trap. If you surrender obediently today, maybe the master will spare your life." Ling Feng stood aside and watched them wantonly and arrogantly, and learned about their grievances. Zheng Sanbao clenched his fists. Anger gushed in his eyes, and the humiliation he suffered in the past surged into his heart again, and said coldly, "Who are you two? No one in the entire Genesis Mountain has the right to say anything to me except the 7 of them. What else can you two watchdogs do except bite people? I am here today. What can you two do to me?" The guard sneered and said arrogantly, "Zheng Sanbao, you have become more powerful after having a new master. Have you forgotten how you were kicked out of the Genesis Mountain? Although we are not your opponents, do you dare to attack us?" Zheng Sanbao was about to take action when a frivolous voice sounded. "Hey, why is it so lively?" Everyone looked at it and saw a man in a blue suit striding towards them. The man was about 25 years old, wearing a well-fitting suit with a shiny back hair, looking very businesslike. The two guards immediately smiled when they saw the man in the suit. It turned out to be Miao Xiao. "Welcome," the crowd of onlookers exclaimed. "Miao Xiao, could this person be from the Miao family of the Miaojiang tribe in Yinchuan?" Someone in the crowd asked in a low voice. "It should be. Who else can be treated so politely by the Creation Alliance except the Miao family? It is said that the Miao family's supernatural powers are mysterious and unpredictable, making it difficult to guard against them. Many forces are unwilling to be enemies with them. This young man from the Miao family is really heroic and extraordinary. Especially this blue enchantress is really unique." Miao Renjia listened to the praises from the crowd and couldn't help but straighten his chest with a proud look on his face. He glanced at Zheng Sanbao and the inconspicuous Ling Feng next to him, thinking that Ling Feng was Zheng Sanbao's junior, and didn't pay too much attention to him. It's just that this guy looks a bit annoying, and he is even more handsome than him. He hates it most when someone is more handsome than himself, and it's annoying to look at him. At this time, Ling Feng also looked up and down at this slutty man, wearing a blue suit and golden Chelsea leather shoes, a typical non-mainstream style, which made Ling Feng shake his head. "I didn't expect that I was just looking for an opportunity, but I didn't expect that everyone here is talented. What's going on?" Miao Renjia signaled Zheng Sanbao with his eyes and asked. The guard said flatteringly, "Miao Xiao, this man is called Zheng Sanbao. This guy stole the exotic fruit of our Creation Alliance before and was wanted by our alliance. He escaped, but this time he came back again and wanted to go into the mountain to look for treasure. We were just thinking of reporting to the alliance to catch him. You are talking nonsense. When did this Creation Mountain become exclusive to your Creation Alliance? This is a public area. The exotic fruit belongs to those who are capable. How can it be stolen?" Zheng Sanbao said angrily. The guard looked at Zheng Sanbao and said in a bad tone, "Creation Mountain has always been the territory of our alliance. You should go to the 7 masters to talk to them and see if they will listen to you." "Okay." Miao Renjia stopped the guard and said in the tone of a superior, "Zheng Sanbao, you should quickly apologize to the 2 guards. I think they won't make it too difficult for you for my sake. As for your entry into the mountain, don't even think about it. Just be prepared to accept the punishment. How about that?" The 2 guards looked at Zheng Sanbao with gloating. They really didn't expect that someone from the Miao family would speak for them at the critical moment. God really has eyes? Zheng Sanbao will see what he will do this time. One of the guards turned his eyes and immediately said to Miao Renjia with a smile, "Miao Xiao, This guy has a new master, the one next to him, called Ling Feng from the God of War base. So funny, I've never heard of him. Miao Renjia's expression moved when he heard this, and he turned to look at Ling Feng. He didn't expect that this guy was actually the old man's master. He really didn't see it. Miao Renjia looked at Ling Feng, his eyes full of jealousy. Since you were his master, then you can apologize for him. And there is no need to apologize for him, that if you are not serious, just bend down 90 degrees to apologize. Miao Renjia said maliciously. Hey, you are too much. Don't bully others like this. The younger brother of the ragged pair of siblings said. The sister covered her brother's mouth with horror and whispered, Don't talk nonsense. Be careful of your mouth. The younger brother said, unconvinced. That's right. He is bullying others. He must be jealous that others are more handsome than him. Miao Renjia's expression immediately became gloomy, and the words of the little boy just now directly touched his bottom line. I hate others to meddle in other people's business the most. Remember to talk less in your next life. Miao Renjia said in a low voice. Then he slowly spread his right hand, and a ball of blue flame instantly appeared in the palm of his hand. The temperature of the entire space instantly rose, and the air around the flame became distorted. The onlookers who were closer clearly felt the temperature change. Many people showed shocked expressions on their faces and whispered, It turned out to be a blue fire. I can feel the heat here. It's over. It seems that this Miao Xiao is really angry. It is said that the temperature of this fire can reach 500 degrees. Even a king-level supernatural person can't stand it. The brother and sister looked even paler. The sister directly pulled her brother behind her and said tremblingly, My brother is young and ignorant. If you want to kill me, just kill me. Please spare my brother's life. Miao Renjia looked at the girl in front of him. A greedy look flashed in his eyes. Although she was wearing very ragged clothes and her face was a little dirty, her delicate face could still be seen. As a veteran in the flower world, he could tell at a glance that this girl was still a virgin. She would definitely be a top-notch after dressing up. Miao Renjia's eyes wandered all over the girl's body without any concealment. The girl felt a chill down her spine when she was looked at by his aggressive eyes. As long as you agree to my conditions, I will let your brother go, Miao Renjia said sinisterly. Chapter 212. What's the condition? The girl asked weakly. Play with me for 2 days, and I'll let him go, Miao Renjia said frivolously. No, the girl said with an ugly look. Miao Renjia's expression turned cold, and a trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. No, then I'll kill him. The blue fire in Miao Renjia's palm suddenly surged and turned into a tiger, emitting waves of heat all over his body. Everyone was stunned by this amazing scene. They didn't expect that the superpowers could have such magical changes. Okay, you've almost finished pretending, Ling Feng said indifferently. Ling Feng looked at the tiger in Miao Renjia's hand with a look of disdain. This tiger looks very scary, but it's actually useless. To put it bluntly, it's still a fire that just gives it a shape. Its only function is to pretend and bluff. Miao Renjia looked at Ling Feng, and a trace of coldness flashed across his eyes. Your name is Ling Feng, right? I wanted to spare your life, but now I've changed my mind. Miao Renjia threw the tiger formed by the blue fire in his hand towards Ling Feng. The tiger flew towards Ling Feng with an indomitable momentum. The ground turned into snow and water in an instant, and then evaporated quickly. The fire approached Ling Feng in the blink of an eye, and would wrap Ling Feng's entire body in the next second. Some of the onlookers showed regretful expressions, and the brother and sister closed their eyes, not daring to see this tragic scene. Zheng Sanbao's expression moved slightly, and his eyes were full of worry. Ling Tian in the crowd grabbed the corner of his clothes tightly. He was confident that Ling Feng would not die so easily. Miao Renjia looked at Ling Feng standing still, and his mouth curled up slightly. Killing a person who is more handsome than himself is more fulfilling than killing 10 people. He likes to see his enemies screaming in pain in his strange fire, and then turning into a pile of ashes. He will let the ashes fly with the wind and crush them to dust. seeing the strange fire getting closer and closer to Ling Feng. The arc of his mouth became bigger and bigger. But the next second, his smile disappeared immediately, and a trace of disbelief flashed across his face. At this time, his strange fire stopped in front of Ling Feng and remained motionless, and he also lost control of the strange fire. Ling Feng blew gently at the strange fire, and the strange fire that looked extremely terrifying was blown out directly. This scene made everyone present stunned. Miao Renjie was also dumbfounded. When did his strange fire become so weak that it could be blown out by someone in one breath? The onlookers also looked at Miao Renjie with suspicion, and many people even doubted the authenticity of his identity. This guy can't be a fake. He's doing this kind of trick to scare people. I almost peed just now. And this is the result. I think so too. This is too fake. I don't know where this spirited guy came from who was pretending to be cool. The two guards were also confused. Miao Renjie's identity couldn't be fake. He was personally introduced by their immediate superior, so it couldn't be fake. And they knew his strength. He was in the early stage of the emperor level and was one of the most powerful people in the Miao family. He couldn't be so weak. What on earth is going on? Miao Renjie's eyes flickered constantly, thinking about countermeasures. The doubts of the people around him made him want to run away. Ling Feng looked at Miao Renjie with a playful look and said, "Your strange fire doesn't seem to be very lethal. Do you want to try mine?" A small cluster of green flames appeared between the index finger of Ling Feng's right hand, which looked inconspicuous. Miao Renjie looked stern and snorted. "I don't know what method you used to break my strange fire, but if you want to compete with me in strange fire, then you've made a mistake. When it comes to playing with fire, I'm the ancestor." Ling Feng looked at Miao Renjie with a mocking look on his face. "Will you wet your bed if you play with fire every day? And who gave you the courage, Liang Jingru?" Miao Renjie's eyes were red, and he said coldly, "Stop talking nonsense. Let's see the real thing with your hands." Then two balls of deep blue flames appeared in his palms again, and the temperature of the flames seemed higher than before, and the power was stronger. "Die!" Miao Renjie roared, and two flames were thrown out by him quickly. The two flames rushed towards Ling Feng at high speed from the left and right, bringing a wave of heat. After the two flames came in front of Ling Feng, they stopped again. "A cut!" Ling Feng sneezed and blew out the two flames in front of him directly. He rubbed his nose and said a little embarrassedly, "Sorry, I caught a cold and couldn't help it, so I accidentally blew out your strange fire." Miao Renjie's expression changed drastically. His strongest, he couldn't believe that the attack was blocked in this way. He felt that there must be something fishy about Ling Feng. "How did you do it?" Miao Renjie asked with a ferocious face. Ling Feng smiled slightly. "What's so difficult about this? Just blow it with your mouth. Now it's time to try my strange fire." Ling Feng flicked his finger lightly, and the tiny flame of strange fire on his index finger flew quickly towards Miao Renjie. Miao Renjie looked at the strange fire flying towards him with disdain. The size of this strange fire was about the same as the flame from a lighter. Not to mention him, even an ordinary person could easily block it. He confidently stretched out his palm to grab the strange fire. He had to get back the face he had just lost. He quickly grabbed the strange fire and smiled, but the next second, he screamed. There was a severe burning pain in his palm, and the whole arm was instantly covered with green flames. A trace of fear flashed across Miao Renjie's face. He immediately took out the dagger from his waist and swung it quickly towards his shoulder. A section of the burnt back of his hand fell to the ground, still burning. After a few seconds, it turned into a pile of ashes. Miao Renjie endured the severe pain and quickly took out a small porcelain bottle from his pocket, pulled out the stopper with his mouth, and poured the black powder inside on the wound on his shoulder. The wound that was originally bleeding miraculously stopped bleeding. Miao Renjie looked at Ling Feng with resentment and said with gritted teeth, "Ling Feng, our Miao family has made a grudge with you today. You wait for me. I won't let it go." Ling Feng raised his eyebrows. "I think I will take revenge on the spot if I have a grudge. Since you are already my enemy, how can I let you go?" Miao Renjia's back suddenly tightened, and he was a little panicked in his heart. On the surface, he still pretended to be calm. "If you dare to kill me, I guarantee you won't survive tonight," Ling Feng said indifferently. "It's okay to die. Anyway, you will die before me." Ling Feng slowly approached Miao Renjia. Miao Renjia panicked immediately, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. Ling Feng, killing is prohibited in Chuangshi Mountain. Chapter 213. Ling Feng turned his head and looked at the person who was speaking. It was the two guards just now. The two guards saw that Ling Feng actually wanted to kill Miao Renjia. Miao Renjia is the key training target of the Yinchuan Miao family. He is likely to be the head of the family in the future. If he can save his life at this time, it must be a great favor. Sure enough, Miao Renjia immediately looked at the two guards with gratitude. One of the guards immediately said, "Miao Xiao is an important guest of our Creation Alliance. Do you want to be an enemy of our Creation Alliance?" Ling Feng stopped and looked at the two guards. The two guards thought Ling Feng was scared and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Miao Renjia looked at Ling Feng provocatively with a sneer. "Ling Feng, you can't kill me today. Don't let me touch you next time." "Oh, really?" Ling Feng directly used mental power to control Miao Renjia's body. Miao Renjia was horrified to find that he was flying towards Ling Feng uncontrollably. Ling Feng grabbed his neck and lifted him up high. "Who said I can't kill you today?" Ling Feng said coldly. Miao Renjia's face flushed, and his eyes were full of fear. He regretted provoking Ling Feng just now, and even more regretted meddling in other people's business. He didn't want to die. He was still young, and he had a lot of time and a bright future. He didn't want to die in this strange place. The two guards were also shocked by Ling Feng's strange methods. They had never seen such a supernatural power. Even the 7 great masters couldn't control an emperor so easily. "Ling Feng, do you want to offend our Creation Alliance and the Miao family at the same time?" A guard threatened. Ling Feng used his right hand to pinch Miao Renjia's neck directly, and then released a wisp of strange fire to burn him into a pile of ashes. Ling Feng picked up the crystal on the ground, looked around, and then put it into the space. You. The guard pointed at Ling Feng and was speechless. He really couldn't imagine that Ling Feng was so bold that he dared to kill Miao Renjia in public, not afraid of the Miao family's revenge at all. The onlookers were even more shocked. How powerful is the Miao family? In places like Yinchuan, they are ranked among the top families. Any master who walks out of them can sweep through their small bases. There are even rumors that the highest combat power of the Miao family has reached the saint level, which is terrifying. This Ling Feng actually killed people without scruples. I don't know if he is stupid or has a strong background. When they looked at Ling Feng, they all had a trace of awe, especially those who had just insulted Ling Feng. They were nervous and regretted that they had just said too much and offended such a ruthless person. Ling Feng looked at the two guards and said coldly, "You still care about others. You should care about yourselves first." The two guards' expressions changed immediately. Could it be that Ling Feng still wanted to attack them? Think about it. Ling Feng dared to kill even the important figures of the Miao family. What else could he not dare to do? "What do you want to do?" The guard said with cold sweat on his back, suppressing the fear in his heart. "Knock down and apologize to Zheng Sanbao. Slap yourself in the face. Don't bargain with me." Ling Feng stared at the two of them and said with sharp eyes. The two guards' expressions froze when they heard this, and one of them said angrily, "A man can be killed, but not humiliated. It's just a dream for us to do such a thing." Before he finished speaking, the teammate next to him knelt straight down toward Zheng Sanbao with such great force that even the hard frozen snow on the ground was cracked by his knees. Then he directly opened his hands to the left and right and slapped his mouth hard. The sound of "pa pa pa" spread to the ears of everyone at the scene. The guard who just spoke looked at his teammate in amazement, with a flash of anger in his eyes. "We agreed to hold on together, but you kid actually played tricks on me. How can I end this?" He said very toughly. "Kneel down." Then he knelt down with a pa-pa sound, with a face full of righteousness, and then began to slap his mouth. Ling Feng watched the performance of the two coldly, feeling a little boring, and then stopped the two's actions. Okay, you two slap each other? Ah. The two guards looked at Ling Feng in horror. How did you find us? One of the guards said a little embarrassedly. Ling Feng rolled his eyes, muttered to himself, and said unhappily, I told you two to slap each other, so you two should talk to me properly, okay? The two of them nodded continuously. They knelt facing each other and began to slap each other's mouths. At the beginning, it was normal, but as time went on, Ling Feng felt something was not right. The two men's attacks became more and more powerful, and the anger in their eyes became more and more intense. In the end, both of them had blood all over their faces, and their entire faces were smashed by each other, which looked very tragic. Ling Feng stood aside and looked a little bored, and then said, Okay, you two can go to hell. The two men's expressions changed, and they immediately roared at Ling Feng. Oh. Because both of them had lost their teeth and their faces were swollen like pigs, Ling Feng couldn't hear what the two men said. He stretched out his hand and slapped the two men in the air. The two guards instantly turned into a ball of blood mist. The people in the audience were shocked by Ling Feng's cruelty again. It's okay to kill the people of the Miao family just now, but now he dares to kill even the people of the Creation Alliance. It's too cruel. Everyone present was silent, terrified. Many people began to slowly walk to the back of the crowd. They were the group that had just insulted Ling Feng. Among them was a bald man who was very nervous at this moment and kept squeezing to the back of the crowd. Ling Feng saw his shiny forehead from a distance. He remembered clearly every person who had said that to him. If he wanted to run now, there was no way. He pointed his finger at the bald man. Boom! A loud noise. The bald man instantly turned into a blood mist, and there were bursts of terrified screams from the crowd, especially the few people standing next to the bald man, who were so scared that their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. Ling Feng looked at the group of people calmly and said calmly, Those who just scolded me, you'd better come out honestly and slap yourself 200 times. Don't let me name them, otherwise you will end up like him. Everyone's heart trembled, especially those who just insulted Ling Feng, who looked even uglier. One of the middle-aged women, who was a bit fat, said with an indignant look, We were just talking casually. How can you, a grown man, be so stingy? We women, bang! The woman turned into a ball of blood mist before she finished her words. Chapter 214. Ling Feng said impatiently, Don't talk nonsense to me. If no one comes out, then we will all turn into blood mist. How about that? As soon as this was said, someone stood up and said with an ugly face, Young Master Ling, I was wrong. Then he began to slap himself hard in the mouth. The rest of the people began to stand up one after another, and even some people who did not insult Ling Feng took the initiative to stand up and start beating themselves for fear that Ling Feng would be unhappy. The sound of slapping was endless on the field, which looked particularly spectacular. Zheng Sanbao walked behind Ling Feng and said with some concern, Young Master Ling, we killed the people of the Creation Alliance. They will definitely not give up. What should we do next? Ling Feng was not panicked at all and said in a very relaxed tone, It's okay, just go into the mountain normally. No matter what they do, just kill them when they come. Zheng Sanbao looked at Ling Feng helplessly and said nothing more. Anyway, he has always been so confident. Ling Feng walked to the side of the brother and sister. Ling Feng was a man who clearly distinguished between gratitude and resentment. Just now, he was threatened by Miao Renjie, and it was this little boy who spoke for him, and he was also retaliated by Miao Renjie. He must show his appreciation. At this time, the elder sister saw Ling Feng coming. Her face changed, and she quickly protected her younger brother behind her. The younger brother looked at Ling Feng with respect. Don't worry. I have no ill will towards you, Ling Feng said with a smile. Brother, you were so awesome just now. Especially the fire ability was so cool. When the younger brother spoke, his eyes were full of stars. The elder sister looked at Ling Feng with a vigilant face, and she was very defensive. Ling Feng saw that the little boy's breath was very weak, but he felt the power of the ability from the little boy. It was the first time he found that a person with an ability would be so weak. Ling Feng took out a king-level supernatural inner pill from the space, handed it to his brother, and said softly, "Thank you for speaking for me just now. This is a gift from me as a brother." The younger brother Shin Hong looked at the inner pill in Ling Feng's hand. The fragrance emanating from it made him swallow his saliva, especially since the two siblings had not eaten for a day. Shin Hong reached out to take it, but his sister immediately slapped his hand down. "We can't take this pill. We didn't do anything to help you. We are unworthy of it," Sister Shun Yin said nervously. Ling Feng's cruel method of killing people just now made her always feel an inexplicable fear when facing Ling Feng. Shin Hong stared at the inner pill in Ling Feng's hand and smacked his lips. Ling Feng played with the inner pill in his hand and said meaningfully, "This pill can cure your brother's illness and can also make his strength go to the next level. Are you sure you don't want it?" When Xin Yin heard this, her expression moved and she asked in surprise, "How do you know my brother is sick? He has superpowers, but his body is very weak. It must be that he used his superpowers too much, which led to his body being depleted. Now he can't use his superpowers," Ling Feng said meaningfully. Shin Hong kept nodding. "Idol, you are so right. I'm very tired every day now. I always want to sleep and can't get up any energy." Ling Feng nodded and said lightly, "Open your mouth and let me see." Shin Hong immediately opened his mouth very obediently. Ling Feng quickly threw the inner pill in his hand into Shin Hong's mouth. Shin Hong felt as if something was stuffed into his mouth, and then it turned into a stream of liquid and flowed into his body. After a few seconds, Shin Hong clenched his fist and said happily, "I don't seem to be so tired anymore, and my body seems to be getting stronger and stronger. I feel that my strength is also slowly increasing." The onlookers around looked at the little boy with envy. He just said a word for Ling Feng and got such a miraculous medicine. Many people secretly beat their feet and stamped their chests, regretting why they didn't see Ling Feng's strength just now. Xin Yin looked at her brother with joy, and a rare smile appeared on her face. Seeing that his brother could recover, he was completely relieved. His brother became like this just to save him. If his brother got sick because of this, she would never be at ease in her life. Ling Feng smiled slightly and touched Shin Hong's little head. "Feel it slowly. This elixir should allow you to reach the level of a superpowered person. Okay, let's say goodbye here. If you want to go into the mountains to look for exotic fruits, do it according to your ability." Shun Yin bowed deeply to Ling Feng and said gratefully, "Thank you, Mr. Ling. My name is Shun Yin. Visits my brother Shin Hong. We will remember your help. If you need it in the future, we will go all out." Ling Feng waved his hand. "I said, this is my thanks to you for speaking up." Then he turned and left. Ling Tian walked to Ling Feng with excitement and said with a smile on his face, "Ling Shuai, I didn't expect you to be Ling Shuai from the God of War base. You are my idol. My admiration for you is like the endless torrent of the river, and like the flood of the Yellow River, it is out of control." Ling Feng raised his hand to stop his flattery and said with a look of disgust, "Don't give me that. Tell me what you have to say." Ling Tian rubbed his hands and said embarrassedly, "Ling Shuai, I want to join your God of War base. I hope you will give me a chance." Ling Feng looked at Ling Tian. This guy is a chatterbox. He doesn't want someone to nag him every day. Besides, this guy looks so touching. There are handsome men and beautiful women in his base. Isn't he lowering the appearance of his base? Ling Feng thought for a while and said slowly, "The requirements of our base are very high. It seems that your strength does not meet the requirements at present." Ling Feng could only express his refusal in a tactful way. Ling Tian was not frustrated after hearing this. Instead, he said excitedly, "Ling Shuai, what are the requirements for joining your base? I will work hard to meet them. You see, we are still relatives." Ling Feng was speechless. He had said it so tactfully. Why was this guy still pestering him? There was no way. He could only make up a reason temporarily. "You are just an ordinary psychic now. Our base requires at least king-level psychics." Ling Tian looked a little depressed when he heard this, and bowed his head without saying anything. Ling Feng secretly breathed a sigh of relief and prepared to take Zheng Sanbao up the mountain. Just as the two were about to leave, they heard Ling Feng say excitedly, "Ling Shui, I will work hard to become a king-level superpower soon." Ling Feng turned around and showed an encouraging smile, then took Zheng Sanbao into the mountain, and the Black Panther followed behind them, wagging its tail. Chapter 215. After officially entering the Genesis Mountain, Ling Feng walked along the flat mountain road all the way up the mountain. After walking about a few dozen meters, he saw a place similar to a small square. There was a small ancient building next to the square. There were more than a dozen groups of people sitting around eating in the square. Some teams even set up a pot, and the pot was steaming. The aroma of instant noodles immediately spread throughout the square, attracting other people to look over. Some people also had fierce eyes, but after seeing the owner of the pot, they immediately retracted their eyes. Ling Feng raised his hand and looked at his Rolex. "It's already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's time to eat. It will be dark soon. It is estimated that I can't go into the mountain to look for exotic fruits today. I can only wait until tomorrow morning to go into the mountain." Judging from the posture of this group of people, I guess they are planning to do so. Ling Feng and his partner soon arrived at the square. The strange combination of 2 people and a dog quickly attracted the attention of many people, especially Ling Feng's team, which had very few people. Other teams were composed of 7 or 8 people, but Ling Feng only had 2 people, which looked very special. Ling Feng found an open space, took out a table from the space and set it up, and took out a chair for Zheng Sanbao. He took out a leather sofa and sat on it comfortably, with a look of enjoyment on his face. Ling Feng took out a cigarette and lit it. This cigarette was from the White Clothes Cult. Ling Feng exhaled a puff of smoke, looking intoxicated. "Old Zheng, how about hot pot tonight?" "I'm fine. As long as there's wine, I can eat anything," Zheng Sanbao said indifferently. Ling Feng took out tools, tin foil pot, and oil lamp from the space. Ling Feng took out the hot pot base and put it into the tin foil pot, added the source of life, and then took out beef rolls, mutton rolls, potato chips, shrimp balls, tripe, meatballs, and more than a dozen hot pot dishes from the space. Finally, Ling Feng took out a bottle of Mao Tai that Kai Haonan collected. After the hot pot soup in the pot boiled, he began to add side dishes to it. After a while, the aroma of the hot pot spread throughout the square. Everyone looked in the direction of Ling Feng, swallowing their saliva constantly, and looking at the cold and hard bread in their hands. They instantly felt that it was not fragrant. They also wanted to taste the taste of hot pot. In the end of the world, especially in this environment, it is such a luxury to have a hot pot. Looking at Ling Feng eating the steaming beef rolls in big mouthfuls, he even prepared dipping sauce, which made people envious and jealous. What made people even more angry was that he actually threw a big lamb leg to his dog, and it was the kind that was steaming hot, which made people drool at the sight of it. The group of people who just ate instant noodles suddenly felt that instant noodles didn't taste so good. Many people had a bad idea in their minds. Why can he eat hot pot? Even dogs can eat hot lamb legs, but people from powerful forces like them can only eat cold food. Although many people have ideas in their minds, there are many forces here after all, and you don't know where they come from. If they are from a big family, wouldn't it be kicking a stone? They're also waiting for a force to test. After a while, they really saw a group of people walking towards Ling Feng and his group in a menacing manner. People from other forces in the square immediately gathered around to watch the excitement. And by the way, see if they can get some hot pot to eat later. Someone in the crowd immediately recognized the origin of this group of people and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Isn't that someone from Yinchuan Miao's family? They're the first to lose patience. If I were as awesome as him, I would go too. After all, who can resist a hot pot in the snow? It's a luxury." At this time, Ling Feng, who was happily eating hot pot and drinking wine, suddenly noticed something wrong. I saw more than a dozen people with different expressions walking towards him in the distance. They were not friendly. Ling Feng's expression changed slightly, but he still calmly picked up a piece of tripe with chopsticks and dipped it in the pot to eat. The Miao family came to Ling Feng's table and surrounded Ling Feng directly. "You are called Ling Feng," a fierce-looking man with a face full of flesh roared. Ling Feng put the tripe into his mouth and said without raising his head, "If you have to fart, just fart. Didn't you see your father is eating? Fuck. Fuck ah." The big man flew out before he finished speaking, knocking the crowd of onlookers to the ground. Na lay on the ground wailing, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. The other dozen people looked at Ling Feng in horror. They didn't even see how Ling Feng made his move and their boss flew out. Or, Ling Feng didn't see there was a move. The other forces who were preparing to watch the excitement on the sidelines were also shocked, and there were many Emperor-level masters among them. They didn't see what happened at all. Everyone present looked at Ling Feng with fear in their eyes. They also knew that the person who just flew out was an Emperor-level master of the Miao family, nicknamed Iron Head. Being able to knock this person away with one punch means that this person's strength is at least above the middle Emperor level, and this person's ability is very strange, making it difficult to guard against and difficult to deal with. Ling Feng was still eating hot pot by himself at this moment, and he had a drink from time to time. Zheng Sanbao, who was sitting next to him, was also tasting the wine calmly, shaking his head, and didn't show any nervousness at all. "If you don't leave, your fate will be the same as his," Ling Feng said while eating with his head down. The people of the Miao family looked at each other, and finally left with Taitu in disgrace. Before leaving, Taitu threatened Ling Feng. "Our Miao family's masters will be here in a wave. I hope you can still be so arrogant later." As soon as Taitu finished speaking, he turned into a ball of blood mist in the next second. The other people of the Miao family were shocked and angry. They didn't care about being afraid, and all ran away. The crowd watching the battle in the distance was stunned by Ling Feng's operation. You know, the one who was killed was not an ordinary person, but the Miao family. He was killed just like that. There will be a good show to watch later. The Miao family is probably going to move out in full force now. This person is too tough. I don't know where this young man came from. He will be miserable later. Many people had a gloating expression on their faces, as if they saw the scene of Ling Feng being brutally killed by the Miao family in a while. Ling Feng didn't care about other people's gossips and continued to eat hot pot calmly. However, after this incident, no one came to trouble Ling Feng again. Those who had ulterior motives were also frightened by Ling Feng's methods and dared not have any bad thoughts. Ling Feng was happy to be quiet and just happened to eat his own hot pot. Ling Feng inadvertently saw a few familiar figures. Chapter 216. Shen Hong and Shun Yin were walking cautiously in the square. After Shun Hong absorbed the inner pill given by Ling Feng, not only did his body recover completely, but his strength also broke through to the state of a superpowered person. His height grew a lot, and he looked like a young hero. But at this time, the brother and sister were still in ragged clothes, which aroused the disgust of other forces. In their eyes, the brother and sister were inferior people. How could they stay in the same place with them? Isn't this an insult to them? How does the Creation Alliance do things? Why do they let anyone in? A middle-aged woman with a more delicate dress said with disgust, pinching her nose. "That's right, look at the clothes they wear. They are so dirty, and I don't know if there is a virus." Faced with the cold words of others, Shen Hong wanted to step forward to argue with anger, and pulled Shun Yin back. "Xiao Hong, we are here to find exotic fruits. Don't make trouble. They're all powerful people. We can't afford to offend them." Shun Yin taught Shun Hong earnestly. Shen Hong's face turned red with anger, and he could only keep it in his heart silently. The brother and sister looked around to find a place to stay, but they came too late. The small square was already full of people. The place they finally found was driven away by people from other forces. The man said arrogantly, "You two trash are not worthy of staying here. Get down the mountain quickly. Even if you get in by chance, don't think about entering the mountain tomorrow." Shen Yin had no choice but to continue to pull Shen Hong to find other places. The two shuttled around the square full of people. Sure enough, they saw a large open space in a corner of the square. At the same time, they also found a familiar face. Ling Feng. At this moment, there was no one within 10 meters around Ling Feng. There was only Ling Feng in the huge corner, which was extremely spacious. "Sister, why don't we go to Brother Ling's place? He is a big place," Shen Hong said with a look of surprise. Being able to see his benefactor and idol again, Shen Hong immediately turned into a little fanboy and wanted to go find Ling Feng. Ling Feng's invincible image has been deeply imprinted in his mind. Shen Yin could see her brother's thoughts. She really didn't want to bother him again. They both owed him a favor and really didn't want to bother him again. But now it seems that there is really nowhere to go. Shen Yin hesitated for a while and could only say helplessly, "Okay, but after we go there, we really can't bother others anymore." "Yeah." Shen Hong nodded heavily, his face full of joy. Shen Yin led Shen Hong to the corner of the square. Someone nearby saw that these two beggar-like people dared to go to Ling Feng's place, and immediately showed an expression of watching a show. Maybe Ling Feng will get angry and kill the brother and sister directly. Ling Feng also saw Shen Hong and nodded slightly to him. Shen Hong trotted to Ling Feng and said excitedly, "Brother Ling, we meet again." Ling Feng put down the chopsticks in his hand, took out 2 chairs from the space, and handed them to Shen Hong and Shen Yin. Zheng Sanbao had drunk some wine and fell asleep on the table. After all, he was old. Shen Yin said apologetically, "Mr. Ling, I'm sorry, we really can't find a place to stay here. We will stay at your place for 1 night. We promise to take up only a little space." "Okay," Ling Feng said without any care. "You can stay wherever you want. This is a public place, not my private territory. Brother Ling is still the best. Those people are all dog-eyed and look down on us. They just bully my sister and I because we have no background and don't let us stay there." Shen Hong clenched his fists and said indignantly. Ling Feng smiled faintly. "This is how society is. Strength is respected. As long as you have strength, no matter where you go, others will greet you with a smile. In the future, I must become a master like Brother Ling, and I will kill anyone who makes me unhappy," Shen Hong said with a heroic face, full of eagerness and excitement. Ling Feng nodded and said with admiration, "You have ambition, you should work hard. By the way, what is your ability?" Shen Hong heard Ling Feng's praise and immediately said with pride, "My ability is the space shuttle function, which can ignore the distance and objects and shuttle at will, but my strength is too low. The distance I can shuttle now is only about 1,000 meters, and it can only be used 5 times. Ling Feng's expression was slightly shocked. It turned out to be the space shuttle ability. I didn't expect that this little guy's ability was so powerful. If his strength is improved in the future, after that, it is definitely a very heaven-defying existence." Ling Feng looked at the innocent little boy in front of him, his eyes turned, and he suddenly had the idea of taking him into the God of War base. Although his current strength is not strong, it is not a problem for Ling Feng. As long as he wants, he can immediately make him break through to the Emperor level or even the Saint level. Seeing Shen Hong's eyes secretly looking at the hot pot on his table many times and swallowing his saliva inadvertently, Ling Feng's mouth corners slightly raised. An array of light flashed in his eyes. Ling Feng said casually, "You two haven't eaten yet." Ling Feng took out a few more plates of beef rolls from the space, as well as some duck blood, green vegetables, vermicelli, and other side dishes. "Would you like to eat with me?" Ling Feng took out 2 pairs of new chopsticks and put them in front of Shen Hong. Shen Yin waved her hand quickly. "Mr. Shen, we have already eaten. You don't have to be polite, right, little brother?" Shen Yin patted Shen Hong on the back and looked at him with a warning. Shen Hong said with an unnatural smile, "Yes, Brother Ling, we are not hungry at all. You should keep these dishes for yourself. I really don't eat much beef and vegetables." Shen Hong said this, but his eyes occasionally glanced at the meat that was constantly boiling in the pot. Ling Feng felt a little funny. This little guy was so cute. He was obviously very hungry, but he still insisted on being strong. It seems that this little guy is still very afraid of his sister. Everything is based on his sister's ideas. Ling Feng took out 2 new bowls and plates and placed them in front of the 2 siblings and said very generously, "It's okay. Eat some more after you finish. Anyway, I can't finish all these dishes by myself." Ling Feng picked up a piece of beef and put it in the bowl in front of Shen Hong, urging, "Eat it quickly, or it will get cold and taste bad." Shen Hong looked at the beef roll in front of her, her eyes lit up, her mouth drooling, but she still resisted eating it and turned to look at her sister with a begging look in her eyes. Chapter 217. Ling Feng also looked at Shun Yin and said with a smile, "You should eat too. Why bother to help each other when you are out?" When Shun Yin saw Ling Feng say this, she felt that it would be a bit disappointing if she refused again. Besides, Ling Feng didn't look like a bad person. He is so handsome, so he can't be that bad. Shun Yin thought secretly in her heart. "Thank you, Mr. Ling. I won't let Mr. Ling down. Eat quickly." "Okay, sister." Shen Hong shouted happily. Then he couldn't wait to pick up the beef roll in the bowl with chopsticks and put it in his mouth. He showed a satisfied look. "It's so delicious," Shen Hong said happily. Then the brother and sister began to eat in silence. The chopsticks in Shen Hong's hand kept flying up and down in the pot, and his mouth was full. On the other hand, Shen was much more elegant, chewing slowly. Although the siblings had not had a full meal for a long time, they still maintained the quiet side of a girl. When the siblings were eating, Ling Feng got a preliminary understanding of the two from the side through chatting. It turned out that the siblings were both from Jiangnan province. They lived by the sea since childhood. Their parents made a living by the sea. After the end of the world, their village relied on the fish they had stored before and survived well. The siblings also stimulated their superpowers together. The sister's superpower was a water-based superpower that restrained and controlled anything related to water. Originally, their family lived in a warm place. The two of them were superpowers and had considerable prestige in the village. But something happened half a month ago that caused their entire village to suffer a catastrophe. According to Shen Hong, one morning half a month ago, the village was suddenly attacked by a group of monsters. They looked very strange. From a distance, they looked like human figures, but when you get closer, you can see the difference. Their skin is blue, they are naked, and they have fish-like scales on their bodies. They are very hard and have mucus on their scales. You can smell their fishy smell from a long distance. These monsters are very powerful, and there are many of them. These monsters ran out from the sea. After rushing into the village, they began to kill people wantonly, biting off people's necks with their sharp teeth, sucking blood from people's bodies, and eating humans crazily. The whole village turned into a hell on earth for a while. Although the fishermen in the village are all strong, they are no match for these monsters. The monsters can knock off people's heads with a casual wave. What's more terrifying is that these monsters are very intelligent, not inferior to humans. They know how to use weapons and will catch people and drag them back to the sea. In their entire village, only the two siblings escaped using their powers. Shen Hong also suffered serious damage due to overdrawing his powers. After listening to the description of the siblings, Ling Feng fell in a deep thought. From the tone of their speech, it didn't seem like they were joking, especially Shen Hong. When he talked about his parents being killed by monsters, his sad expression didn't seem fake. It was the first time Ling Feng heard about the monsters they were talking about. Could it be that after the end of the world, the creatures in the sea also mutated? Ling Feng woke up Zheng Sanbao and told him about this. Zheng Sanbao had lived for a long time, so he might know something. After listening to Ling Feng's description, Zheng Sanbao's expression changed. "Old Zheng, do you know something?" Ling Feng looked at Zheng Sanbao. Zheng Sanbao said with a serious expression, "I have read about this kind of creature in an ancient book before. There is a kind of fishman in the depths of the sea that looks very similar to what the siblings described by best-selling books online. But those fishmen have always kept their distance from humans and never come ashore. How could they attack humans?" Zheng Sanbao showed a puzzled look. Shen Hong, who was already full at this time, said, "Those monsters like to eat human brains and hearts, and their methods are very cruel." Ling Feng decided to let the people below pay close attention to the sea after returning to the base. After all, half of the cities in Handong province are by the sea. If there are such fishmen, Handong province will be the first to be affected. Moreover, these fishmen are numerous, powerful, and hidden deep in the sea. It is indeed a bit difficult to deal with. As everyone chatted, the sky gradually darkened. Ling Feng took out a small desk lamp, simply tidied the table, put some melon seeds, and chatted with the siblings. The few people gradually became familiar with each other. "Brother Ling, Can I join your base? I also want to follow the Ares Brigade to conquer everywhere. Shen Hong looked longing. After listening to Ling Feng's introduction to the Ares base, he was fascinated by the invincible god of war brigade, which became his goal. Shen Yin glared at him and taught him a lesson. Brother Ling's base is full of powerful superpowers. Wouldn't your strength be a drag in the past? After chatting for a while, Shen Yin gradually let down her guard and was no longer so unfamiliar with Ling Feng's name. Ling Feng was happy, secretly thinking that his bewitching finally worked, and he had captured another potential strongman. As long as he was trained a little, he would definitely be a powerful superpower in the future. However, on the surface, Ling Feng still said lightly, "Of course there is no problem joining our base. There are also many ordinary people in our base. As long as you work hard, you can get food, and the base will also guarantee your safety. But if you want to join the core management of the base, you must not only undergo strict inspections, but also have strong strength. This requires you to work hard in the base." Shen Hong said excitedly when he heard this. "Brother Ling, don't worry. I will work hard and improve my strength to the king level as soon as possible. In the future, I will not only join the God of War Brigade, but also become a captain-level strongman." Ling Feng nodded with satisfaction. Shen Yin was also very happy in her heart. The two siblings have been wandering these days, encountering many dangers, and have also been looked down upon and bullied. Now, they can join a powerful base, which can give them a place to settle down. She is more than happy. "Brother Feng, please take me in too." Ling Tian suddenly appeared from nowhere, looking at Ling Feng with a smile on his face. Ling Feng was startled by the sudden appearance of Ling Tian, and he didn't know where this guy had hidden just now, and he didn't find it. Even the Black Panther, lying on the ground, was frightened by the sudden appearance of Ling Tian and stood up directly. "Why did you suddenly appear?" Ling Feng said speechlessly. At the same time, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. There was clearly no one around him, so how did he appear? Moreover, his perception ability was 100 times that of ordinary people, so it was impossible that he did not see it. Chapter 218. Ling Tian chuckled. "This is my ability, space distortion. I just changed the space around me so that the light could not shine on me. So you naturally can't see me." Ling Feng looked at Ling Tian in surprise. It was the first time he heard of such a magical ability. "What other effects does your ability have?" Ling Feng asked curiously. Ling Feng sat on Shen Hong's chair very familiarly. Shen Hong had no choice but to move to make room for him. Ling Tian said confidently, "Brother Feng, when it comes to abilities, my ability is amazing. My ability can not only make me invisible but also dodge attacks. Whether it is close combat or long-range attacks, I can dodge them. It can be said that my ability is directly invincible on the battlefield. You will definitely not lose out if you accept me." "Brother Feng." Ling Feng looked at him and said with a playful look, "If others can't kill you, you can't hit others either, right?" This?" Ling Tian scratched his head awkwardly. Unexpectedly, Ling Feng discovered his flaw all of a sudden. That is, he can only block other people's attacks, but he can't attack others. Because his superpower can only rely on his own physical strength when attacking others. He doesn't know any fighting skills, and his strength is not great, so hitting those superpowers has no effect at all, just like tickling. However, this flaw is not a problem for Ling Feng at all. Ling Feng's serum and precious blood can completely turn them into a power monster. After hearing about Ling Tian's superpower, Ling Feng was indeed a little moved. This guy is also a talent. Although his superpower has obvious flaws, his advantages are also outstanding. If he is modified by himself, he is also a demon-like figure, but this guy is a chatterbox, looks ugly, and is a bit annoying. Ling Feng has been silent all the time. Ling Tian sat next to him and was a little anxious and hurriedly said, "Brother Feng, just accept me. I promise to be loyal to you. Although I am not good at fighting, no one can compare to me in lurking and gathering intelligence." Ling Tian has been begging beside Ling Feng. Ling Feng was a little annoyed by what he said, and said lightly, "I can agree to your joining, but I have conditions." Ling Tian immediately showed an excited look. "No problem. Tell me what conditions you want." and I will agree. Ling Feng took a deep look at Ling Tian and said seriously, try to talk less around me in the future. I don't like people who talk too much. Ling Tian was stunned when he heard this. That's it? He immediately agreed. Okay, Brother Feng, I will definitely talk less. Ling Feng nodded and asked casually, didn't you eat? Ling Tian nodded pitifully. He had been hiding in the dark and eavesdropping on Shen Hong and his brother eating hot pot. He was so greedy that he swallowed half a caddy of saliva. Ling Feng took out a big elbow from the space and handed it to him. Ling Tian's eyes lit up, and his two green bean eyes instantly became bigger. He took the elbow and took a big bite. The fat but not greasy elbow skin tasted really good. Fragrant. So fragrant. Ling Tian praised with a thumbs up. He took the big elbow with both hands and ate it in big mouthfuls. Shen Hong next to him swallowed his saliva and stared at the elbow in Ling Tian's hand. People from other forces in the distance were also envious of Ling Tian eating the elbow and kept swallowing their saliva. Some people also said sourly, you can tell at a glance that you have eaten something good. The elbow is very greasy. I like to eat steamed buns that are delicious and not greasy. Yeah, what's so good about that thing? My bread is much more fragrant than his. Someone on the side echoed. On the other side, in the center of the square, a white tent is very conspicuous. A big Miao character on the white tent shows the identity of the owner. The Miao family is one of the most powerful forces in the Creation Mountain this time. The number of masters sent this time is the largest among all the forces, reaching 50 people. In the tent, several core management members of the Miao family are sitting together to discuss things, and everyone has anger on their faces. One of the young men in gorgeous clothes roared repeatedly. This Ling Feng is really arrogant. He killed 2 masters of our Miao family in succession. If we don't chop him in a meat paste, how will others laugh at us? This matter must be dealt with seriously. This god of war base must disappear from the Blue Star. One of the young women with an indifferent look frowned slightly and immediately scolded the young man. They're just you that you're spoiled. If you hadn't caused trouble everywhere and let them do whatever they want, would they die? What did I say before I came out? I asked you to take good care of them. This Miao Ringe wouldn't have died if he hadn't been nosy and insulted others. The young man glanced at the woman, and a trace of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. If the family hadn't let this woman be the person in charge of this operation, he wouldn't have paid attention to this woman. After all, he is also a master ranked in the top 10 of the family. He is still so young and has great potential in the future. I don't know what the elders in the family think to let a woman suppress him. In terms of strength, I am not as good as her. The man looked at the woman with an yin and yang look on his face and said, Yes, it's not as thoughtful as you, Captain Miao. Anyway, the face of the family is not important in front of you. Let this Ling Feng continue to ride on the neck of our Miao family. And shit. Miao Xiaozui's face changed, and she said coldly, Miao Huiguang, don't you know how much trouble you have caused me along the way? You destroyed 2 bases and insulted so many girls. Don't you know how to do it? You still dare to talk about the family's reputation. You have lost the family's reputation. Miao Huiguang's face changed. He didn't expect that this stinky woman would bring such a thing to the stage. This was obviously not giving him a way out. He immediately said angrily, No one else knows what I did except our Miao family, but today's incident has spread throughout the entire Chuansha Mountain. Are you Miao Xiaozui going to be a coward? Miao Xiaozui secretly clenched her fists, and a complex look flashed across her delicate face. Even if we want to take revenge for this matter, we have to wait until this operation is over. At present, our main task is to find treasure, not to take revenge. And Ling Feng's strength should not be underestimated. If more personnel are lost because of revenge, it will definitely affect subsequent actions, which is not worth the loss. Miao Huiguang smiled coldly. I will handle this matter myself. Ling Feng killed 2 people from my Miao family. I can't swallow this breath. You all don't have to go. I will go and take his head. Miao Xiao, you haven't eaten yet. You should eat first and then go. I have warmed up the wine. A Miao family superpower stopped Miao Huiguang, who was about to go out. Miao Huiguang looked at the wine and food on the table and said confidently, "The wine is a little hot. Don't eat it now. It's just right to eat after I go and kill Ling Feng." Chapter 219. Miao Xiaozi looked at Miao Huiguang, who left with a wave of his sleeves and gnashed her teeth in anger. Finally, she sighed in her heart. "Forget it. I have already said it. Good words cannot persuade similar ghosts. Whether they live or die has nothing to do with me." Miao Huiguang walked out of the tent and picked up a long spear on the ground. He has practiced martial arts since he was a child and has mastered all kinds of skills, especially spear skills, which have reached the level of perfection. When he was in kindergarten, he won the championship of the infant group of the National Spearmanship Competition. He has always been trained as the heir of the family. After the end of the world, he has stimulated his supernatural powers. His strength has reached the peak level of the Emperor level in just half a year. He is confident that he can stab the spear in his hand into Ling Feng's chest within 3 moves, avenge his brothers, and save face for his family. This Ling Feng must die today. Miao Huiguang strode towards Ling Feng's position with a long spear on his shoulder. When people saw him on the way, they hurriedly made way for him. The evil spirit emanating from his body made everyone who saw him take a step back subconsciously. Miao Huiguang's strength is also at the top level among these forces, and there are not many people who can defeat him. After seeing Miao Huiguang, many people followed him to watch the fun. Ling Feng had just eaten hot pot in public, which made many people jealous. Now seeing someone attack Ling Feng again, they were secretly happy. Ling Feng, who was chatting with Ling Tian and others, saw a man looking at a spear walking towards him quickly, with a strong, evil spirit all over his body. Ling Feng shrugged and said helplessly, "It's not over yet. It's here again. Can't let people have a good rest." Ling Tian also saw Miao Huiguang's figure and complimented Ling Feng. "Brother Feng, with your strength, you can kill him with a fart. These people don't know what's good for them. I'll teach them a lesson for you." After saying that, Ling Tian stood up lazily, tidied his clothes, and loosened his belt. He had been hungry for 3 days and tightened his belt every day. Today he finally had a full meal. Ling Tian looked at the aggressive Miao Huiguang, put his hands behind his back, raised his chin slightly, and narrowed his eyes slightly, looking like a master. Miao Huiguang saw the man in front of him. Although he looked ugly, he looked down on everything and had a calm demeanor. "He should be a master. Who are you?" Miao Huiguang asked hesitantly. He had never seen Ling Feng, and he didn't dare to act rashly. If he accidentally found the wrong person, it would be embarrassing. Ling Tian's expression did not change. His voice was calm, and he said with dignity, "You came to my territory and asked me who I am. Don't you think too highly of me, the 9 Heavens Master? Whose family are you from?" Miao Huiguang's expression changed. He had never heard of the name the other party said, but the name of the 9 Heavens Master sounded very powerful. Fortunately, he asked a little more, otherwise he would have caused a big disaster. He quickly bowed his hands and admitted his mistake respectfully. "I am from the Miao family. I was unreasonable just now. Please forgive me." Ling Tian nodded in a pretentious manner, with a flash of memories in his eyes. Muttered in a voice that Miao Huiguang could hear, "Miao family, I once met your Miao family's ancestor. When I met him at that time, he was still a child. So many years have passed in a blink of an eye." Miao Huiguang's eyes flashed with a trace of horror. The ancestor of his family has been dead for decades, and he must be more than 100 years old now. This man looks so young. Is he the legendary immortal cultivator? Novels are all true. The crowd watching was also confused. Didn't this guy just show off 3 big elbows without any image? How come he has become a hermit now? But looking at his demeanor and words, he doesn't seem fake. Is he really a cultivator? They couldn't tell the truth for a while. I didn't expect that the senior actually has a friendship with my ancestor. It's really fate that we can meet in this mountain. Shun Hong and Shun Yin, the brother and sister behind Ling Tian, saw Ling Tian playing Miao Huiguang around. They tried to hold back their smiles, and their faces turned red. Ling Feng also watched the show with a smile on his face. I didn't expect that Ling Tian was so good at making things happen. He made the idiot on the opposite side stunned. It can be seen that this guy must have used this trick to fool people a lot. It's okay if he plays well, but if he is discovered, he will be beaten to death. But this guy's ability seems to be invincible. He is really disgusting. Ling Feng looked at Ling Tian, ready to continue watching the show. Ling Tian had Ling Feng behind him to support him. Waste, pretending to be a master, is even more handy. Every move is calm and composed. Why are you in such a hurry? Ling Tian used his special ability to refract the space around him, not only making him look erratic, but also making his voice hollow, as if it was the means of an immortal in the sky. The onlookers all trembled and couldn't help but exclaimed. The means displayed by Ling Tian made them amazed. This erratic figure must be an immortal. Even those who had doubts just now had no doubts at this moment. Qin Huiguang's heart was like a storm at this time. He stood closest to Ling Tian and saw Ling Tian's changes clearly, which was not bluffing at all. Qin Huiguang lowered his head deeply and said honestly, "Senior, I came here to find a man named Ling Feng. He killed 2 masters of our Miao family. I came to seek revenge on him." After saying that, he raised his head and looked at Ling Tian cautiously. Ling Tian's face was indifferent and his tone was light. "I have heard a little about this matter. I can help you with this matter. Your Miao family has done me a favor, so I can repay your Miao family for a favor." Qin Huiguang was delighted when he heard this. He didn't expect that his Miao family had a relationship with such a master. Why didn't he hear the elders in the clan talk about it? The other people watching were also envious. They didn't expect that their Miao family had such a wide network of contacts that they even knew such people. It was really terrifying. Ling Tian glanced at Qin Huiguang, nodded slightly, and said with a slightly appreciative tone, "I see that you are a genius who cultivates immortals. I wonder if you are willing to become my disciple and become a flute-playing boy." Qin Huiguang was overjoyed when he heard this, and he felt a little dizzy. He was just out for revenge, and he encountered such a great thing. Such a big pie fell on his head. If he could become a disciple of an immortal, even if he just played the flute every day, the progress he would make would probably not be comparable to that of ordinary people like them. Chapter 220. Miao Huiguang knelt down directly in front of Ling Tian with a thud. "Master, please accept my disciple's worship." Then he kowtowed 3 times to Ling Tian. As long as he could worship the immortal as his master, his status in the family would be unmatched. Miao Xiaotsui, that bitch, still wanted to compete with him for the position of the clan leader, so she could just dream on. When he returned later, he was going to teach that bitch a lesson. He had pursued her before, but was not only rejected, but also said that he was a waste and unworthy of him. Now that he had become the immortal's disciple, let's see if she dared to say that to him. Tonight, he would let her beg for mercy under his crotch. Qin Huiguang kept fantasizing about his glorious future in his heart. Ling Tian looked at Qin Huiguang, solemnly kowtowed to him 3 times, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Okay, you go back first. I will take care of your affairs." "Yes, master." Qin Huiguang kowtowed to Ling Tian 3 more times and left respectfully. The crowd immediately made way for him, with envy in their eyes. Qin Huiguang was extremely proud when he saw the envious eyes of people from other forces. He walked out of the crowd with his head held high and his chest puffed out with a proud look on his face. Now that Ling Feng's problem has been solved, it's time to solve Miao Xiaotsui's problem. After watching Qin Huiguang walk away, Ling Tian immediately resumed his playful and smiling appearance, and sat next to Ling Feng with a wretched face. "Brother Feng, how is it? I acted well, right?" Ling Tian said with a proud face. Ling Feng gave him a thumbs up. "Not bad. You are really a talent." Ling Feng praised. He could now imagine how crazy Miao Huiguang would be when he knew he was deceived. On the other side, Qin Huiguang walked back to the Miao family's territory with a step that did not recognize any relatives. Everyone in the Miao family looked at his smug expression and guessed that he must have succeeded. Many people who were close to him immediately came forward to flatter him. "Third young master, you look like you must have succeeded. I knew that if you, third young master, took action, it would be easy to capture him." Miao Huiguang raised his head proudly, with the corners of his mouth raised high. To kill an ant like him, Don't you just need hands? Miao Huiguang said with a relaxed look. He glanced at the tent, sneered, and strode in. Miao Xiaocui, who was discussing the treasure hunt in the mountains tomorrow with other backbones of the Miao family, saw Qin Huiguang's expression move when he returned intact, and thought to herself, looking at this guy's expression, he doesn't look like he was defeated. Did he really kill Ling Feng? How long has he been away? It's impossible for the battle to end so quickly. Before Miao Xiaocui finished speaking, Miao Huiguang pointed at Miao Xiaocui's nose and said coldly, "You will no longer be the commander-in-chief of this operation. I don't think you are suitable. From now on, I will be in charge of the work here." Miao Xiaocui frowned and said coldly, "Miao Huiguang, you took the wrong medicine. Did Ling Feng make you stupid?" Miao Huiguang sneered. "Ling Feng? He is not worthy of me to take action, but I think he has been reincarnated now. My master can kill him with a fart." "Your master?" Miao Xiaocui looked at him puzzledly. "Didn't his spearmanship master die a long time ago? When did he get another master?" The other backbones of the Miao family also looked at him puzzledly. How come he got another master after being out for a few minutes? Miao Huiguang glanced at everyone and said loudly, "My master is the Nine Heavens Master. He just accepted me as his personal disciple. Now I am a disciple of the immortal. Do you know the meaning of immortals?" "Humph, Miao Xiaocui, I advise you to be honest. I am not afraid even of the clan leader." Miao Xiaocui's face turned pale. He used to think that Miao Huiguang was a playboy, but now it seems that he is not only strong but also simple-minded. "Immortal? There are no immortals in this world. You have read too many novels." Miao Xiaocui looked at him speechlessly. "You said you met an immortal. I think you got kicked in the head by a donkey. You believe this nonsense. You are stupid." Miao Huiguang's expression changed. He had already revealed his identity. This woman dared to disrespect him and insult him. It seems that he has to teach her a lesson. "You bitch, you are shameless. Today I will let you know why the flowers are so red." Miao Huiguang roared, holding a spear and stabbing at Miao Xiaocui. The two people on both sides of Miao Xiaocui immediately blocked her. One of the middle-aged men drew a soft sword from his waist to block the attack of the spear, and said with a cold expression, "Miao Huiguang, you dare to attack your own people. Have you forgotten the clan precepts?" Miao Huiguang looked at him with disdain and said with a playful look, "Clan motto? I have the support of the immortals, and my future achievements are limitless. I will lead the Miao family to a more glorious future. Do you understand?" Miao Xiaote looked at Miao Huiguang, the silly dog, and shook her head helplessly. This guy is hopeless. Her pupils flashed a gleam of light, and she said in a cold voice, "Miao Huiguang, you said that you worshipped the immortal as your master. As long as you take me to see your master, if everything you said is true, I will take the initiative to resign, and you will be the commander. How about it?" Miao Huiguang's expression moved. "This method is feasible. Since they don't believe what I say, let them see it with their own eyes and let them give up completely. Okay, I hope you keep your word, otherwise you know the consequences," he said with a threatening tone. Miao Huiguang took the lead and walked out of the tent, followed by Miao Xiaocui, and other high-level combat forces of the Miao family followed behind Miao Xiaocui. Miao Huiguang walked towards the corner of the square with a confident step. People from other forces saw that the Miao family had gone out again, and they were curious. The Miao family had gone out 3 times tonight, and this time they had all the masters, but it didn't look like they were going to fight. Miao Huiguang quickly came to the corner of the square. At this moment, Ling Feng and Ling Tian were sitting in the tent playing chess boredly. "Master, your disciple brought us Miao people to see you." Miao Huiguang's respectful voice sounded. Ling Tian paused with his hand holding the chess, turned around, and saw his chief disciple kneeling on the ground outside. The people of the Miao family also looked over here with curiosity, and Ling Feng whispered, "Your disciple is here again. You can see for yourself. He has come to become your disciple in a group." Ling Tian smiled mysteriously and whispered, "Brother Feng, let me try to see if I can fool the entire Miao family." Ling Feng smiled slightly and gave him an encouraging look. Ling Tian cleared his throat and activated his special ability, making his figure appear vague again.